Hello. How's everyone doing? I am Lonnie Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate. If that is your content of choice, please consider following on all social media platforms as the apple turns. What being a healthy family advocate means is I have identified failures within my own family, and as I do the work to heal my family, I am publicly healing, outwardly healing. I was told in 2013 to purposefully live my life and live my life out loud, which means that I need to live very openly. I know a lot of people from the outside looking in and think, oh, she's just telling her business and oh, blah, blah, blah. Because we're so used to trauma bonding, which is our topic for today. We're so used to trauma bonding that people are just, if they are talking about themselves, they're talking about themselves for attention. I'm not talking about myself for attention. I'm talking about myself to purposefully heal out loud and to show others that healing is possible. This self-destructive, self-hating, self-loathing space that we've accepted for ourselves is not the norm. It's not healthy. And it's not who we are innately. As human beings, as melanated humans, we are not filled with hate. And saying that we are not filled with hate does not mean that other people are. That just means that we are not filled with hate. So for us to walk around with anything but love, acceptance, and appreciation of others, we are not moving in our divinity. We are not who we came to this earth to be. So I have identified that, and I receive daily downloads. And as I receive those daily downloads, I deliver them to you. I deliver them through video. I deliver them through writing. I deliver them through everything. So if you guys are on Twitter, check me out. If you guys are on Instagram, check me out. If you guys are on TikTok, hey, how you doing? If you don't follow. If it has been impressed upon you that you know that you have work to do and you are reaching and you have not found anything worth holding on to, I encourage you to check out this content. I ask you to check out our book, which is the premise of our study group, What's the Best That Can Happen? And I encourage you to intentionally start doing the work, not only to heal yourself, but to heal your family. And as you heal your family, now you're sending purposeful, intentional humans into the world that can heal the community. And as we begin to heal our communities, now we heal our world. So the healing of our world is definitely possible. But we have to understand that politicians are not going to help us. We need to understand that everybody else is not going to help us. We have to understand the healing that we seek, the evolution that we seek is not within. The evolution that we seek is not without, it's within. I apologize. I misspoke. So the way that our book club works presently, it may evolve as our group grows, but presently the way that our book club works is I ramble a little bit and allow the members those who choose to participate, members of the group, those who choose to participate in the book club to get in and get acclimated to what's going on. And then I share a little bit of my journal work that I worked on. I share the chapter that I'm going to teach from, and then I do a talk in relation to that. And then those of you who come and need some one-on-one time, we can now connect, and do a guest sharing for 5 minutes where you're able to ask me questions and we can intentionally heal. And those of you who need more than 5 minutes, I am available for one-on-one sessions, hour-long sessions. Just message me for details. So again, the book that we are studying, I hope I didn't need that. I think that was a bookmark. Hold on. I stopped pressuring myself to constantly perform for you. I sit and I watch other people's lives. Hey, Big Rob, I sit and I watch other people's lives and I see how they're just sitting there in their silent time. I come from a broadcasting background. Not that I was in broadcasting, but I have always had that perspective where there's not supposed to be dead air. I come from that perspective where you constantly have to keep the flow and keep things moving. So when I first started going live, I used to pressure myself to perform. But then I go on other people's lives and I'm just like, they got hundreds of people and they ain't even saying nothing. So I no longer feel the pressure of if the conversation lags, if I have a human moment, if my kids come into the room, all these different things. I no longer put that pressure on myself to perform. Why? Because if you come for this message, then you come for this message. You don't come for the performance. And if you want to receive the message, if I have to stop and pause and do something, and that's your stopping point, then you received what was here for you to receive. This live is centered around this book. What's the best that can happen? This is shadow work. Those of you who are really out here healing yourselves, intentionally doing the work to be the best version of yourselves, pick up this book. It's available on Amazon. It's available on my website, linked in my bio. In 2013, actually 2012, but in 2013, I wrote the book. I documented my healing journey. The person that you see today in this evolved space that I exist in, this person started manifesting my entire life, I know now, but it started manifesting knowingly in 2012, and I was cognizant enough to document it. So if you are out here and you are seeking healing, you're seeking evolution, and you watch my content, you're like, where did she start? She started here. And a lot of the concepts that I share in this book are the foundation of what I teach today, because there's nothing new in this spiritual arena. If somebody comes to you with some new stuff, they're just making it up. True healing comes from here. This healing came from here. I told someone today, they were like, you could just take your videos and just write a book. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you, sis. I've never written a book. I was like, and I know that's weird because I have 2 books. This was the first book that I wrote in 2008, also available on the website. This is the second book that I wrote. Hey, Pat, this is the second book I wrote in 2013. But I told sis today, I've never written a book. Both of these books were channeled. And at the time, I did not want to admit that I channel, because to channel is to, again, from the Christian faith, there's negative connotations in relation to channeling. I'll admit, in my infancy of spirituality, I did intentionally try to channel. But I don't do it intentionally. I just know that I am a channel. I just know that my divinity and my reason for being here on this earth is to receive messages and to deliver those messages. And thank God there's a platform like TikTok today that I can come to this platform and deliver said messages. Hey, Ree. So I told my friend today, I've never written a book. I channeled this in 2 weeks. I channeled this in a month. I know that I didn't write these books because I have not been able to sit down and write a book again. This is supposed to be one of a 5-part book series. This is the only one. This is supposed to be 2 in a 2-part book series. This is the only one. So these were downloaded. These are divinity. These are messages that needed to be delivered in this lifetime. So I hope you guys check them out, pick them up. This one is urban fiction, but there's also healing and messages in here. Everything has a message. Everything has a learning point if you choose to receive it. But if you are intentionally healing yourself, I encourage you to pick up your copy of What's the Best That Can Happen. And tell a friend so they could pick up their copy too. Do not hold something so good that it is changing and evolving you, and you hold it to yourself. Let your world know about what you have found. I explained before you ladies got here, the way that the book club is presently running is I'm going to run my mouth for a couple of minutes until you guys, show up and get here. And so now that, I know a couple of our members are here, we could get into it. I'm going to read from my journal work that from my reading. I'm going to do a brief teaching. And then if you want to get on and discuss, ask questions, add to the conversation, we could do 5-minute increments. If it's just us, we could do longer. But, let's get together, and make sure when you hop on, we just have a flowing conversation, All of us love to talk, Pat. You know, I'm thinking about us. All of us like to talk, but let's just allow each other to exchange ideas and share together so we can all grow together. With that said, my journal work is based off of, in my message today, it's based off of chapter 14, Free Your Mind. At the bottom of page 85, I said, my sister and I could sit on the phone for hours and talk about how crappy our childhoods were. My sister and I could sit for hours and talk about how crappy our childhoods were. October 4th, 2023. Today I read chapter 14 and it talked about how my sister and I really only had connections when we were talking about shared trauma. At the time, I had no idea it was what I now identify as trauma bonding. So I wanted to explore that relationship because many of us struggle with sibling relationships, and a large part of that is because the only connection points you all have are trauma points. And I dare say this is why you have little to no relationship with your parents, because yes, there were good times, but more times than not, there were moments taken for granted. Example, kids making pizza together. A few kind words turns that moment into a memory. We have to understand life is lived in moments, moment to moment to moment. This right now is a moment. And whatever meaning that you attach to this moment will make it a memory. So when our kids say, you know, I don't have any fond memories, or if you look back at your life and your childhood and you're like, I don't have any fond memories, it is because those moments were taken for granted and there was no anchor point created to make it a memory. There are good times, usually because energy has put into making it a good time. There are good times usually because energy was put into making it a good time. And the ones that stick, that energy that lingers, are those pain points, which I teach you to burn off in the book. So if you do not have your copy of What's the Best That Can Happen, and you want to move past pain points, make sure you pick up your copy. But those pain points are trauma bonds and are what has a higher impact because their stored frequency is much higher than any other memory. When I say frequency, I'm not talking about energy frequency. I'm talking about the occurrence frequently. So yes, we had good times in our childhood, but the frequency of the negative points that were stored because of the energy that was given into those negative spaces, the frequency was so high that it overshadows the positive memories. So we have to make sure that we're paying attention to that while we're raising our children. Sure, good times happen, but where was the most energy channeled? We channel the most of our energy in anger, in discipline, in trying to control. That's what leaves the largest stain. But back to my sister. Thinking back to potential fond memories, they are all her being forced to take me with her. She probably definitely didn't want me there. Energy is real, her walking faster than me and ignoring me. But once we arrived to her destination, I had fun. And guys, if you're finding value in the live, make sure you're double tapping the screen and you're letting me know that you appreciate our time together, as well as sharing the live with others. If you're able to be blessed by this, others will be too. So please share and like, share and like, share and like. So honestly, the best memories I've stored of my sister were because of her. Because of her, not of her. I want you to hear that. The best memories I've stored of my sister were because of her, not of her. Digest that real quick. Are you creating memories because you provided the opportunity? For example, Dre bought the boys a trampoline. The boys have lots of fun jumping on that trampoline. Dad provided the opportunity for the memories, but is not the joy of the memory. Do you understand? That trampoline is the joy point that the dad provided. Now, Dre jumping on the trampoline with them, the family hanging outside, laughing and celebrate, the boys flipping and playing. Now the memory has moved from Dad bought us a trampoline to Dad playing with us and the family engaging And I felt seen because of the trampoline. So we have to understand that when we are having these moments with our children, with our friends, with our family, with insert here, is the joy of the moment because of the moment or because of the person that we are with? How many times have you done things that you had such a great time, but the person you were with made it a miserable experience? So we have to make sure, especially when raising our children, because at the end of the day, once they turn 18, they don't have to fuck with us at all. We have to make sure that the memories that we are making, the connections in their brain by providing the energy to create, to change a moment to a memory, we have to make sure that we are a positive piece of that memory. Not we went to Disney World and mom and dad sat in the stores because it was too hot. That's what we did when we went to Disney World. The kids, man, all I'm going to say is don't go to Florida in August. That was hell. I thought Arizona was hell. No. Add some humidity. Don't take your ass to Florida in August. So that's a beautiful memory. Why? Because we went to Florida. All the kids, or we went to Disney World. All the kids, wanted to go to Disney World. Oh my God. They've branded Disney World so amazingly that it is a must do in your lifetime, or you are not who you are now. It's definitely changed as far as thank you for the love. It's definitely changed in this generation. It's not as, I don't know how Disney making their money this way, but I think this generation, i.e. our generation, is keeping the brand going, but our children don't really value it. So our children's children, I don't know what Disney's gonna do, because they more are in our lives now as a movie production company, not as a theme park. And their movie production is problematic, but I'm going on a tangent. Back to my sister. The memories, they blend together. Honestly, I remember her largely being mean to me, though I don't have specific moments like good times. The good times were so far and in between that I have no issue really recalling specific times. When you have so few fond memories of someone, or memories period, but when you have so few fond memories of someone that you can say, I remember this, and I remember this, that is because they're so few and far in between. But if you have so many trauma points with someone, give me an example. I don't have an example because it's so prevalent. You know what I'm saying? I also remember the 3 times she disappointed me. Disappointment is another emotion. But she was always mean to me and hurt my feelings. So to give an example, my entire childhood with her, just trauma. So now that we're adults, in the large belief that even in sister relationships, we can't trust our truths with each other. The only real. And I said the word real reminds me of relatable. When we're being real, we're being relatable. And we can only be real with people that we can relate to. And relation is not relating. The only relatable experience we can bond over is our shared trauma. We're not interested in becoming relatable friends present day, because now I know she never really liked me, and I can now admit I never really liked her. From what I know of her, she's not a nice person. Now, who she is today, to those who know her, that could be something different. But for me, she has never been nice. Relate, see? I love it, Ree. She's done nice things for me. She's essentially bought me a trampoline. So when we fell out, it was so easy for us to break, because my value in her was non-existent. She only had a few positive attributes, and our only relationship present day was founded on shared trauma. This is why these relationships break so easily. The foundation is crap. And when the break happens, we start spewing each other's shared trauma at each other. How many times have you fallen out with somebody and the first thing you guys do is start throwing each other's trauma back in each other's face? That is not friendly behavior, but we've accepted it and we've done it because we have a misconception of what friendship is. Things we received in confidence, in a shared experience we felt we could trust and relate, but in honesty, trauma-based relationships should be avoided at all costs. Even if it's a family member, trauma-based relationships should be avoided at all costs. Anyone who wants to sit up and talk about mess with zero solution is someone who is essentially gossiping. We miss that it's gossip because you are both gossiping about yourself. How am I gossiping if I'm talking about myself, right? It's time to expand the idea that gossip is simply discussing someone else's business. No, any information given without an anchor point, i.e. value, purpose, meaning more than just talking to talk, you are trauma bonding and gossiping about yourself. That is a step in the right direction to discontinuing gossiping, i.e., I'm no longer talking about other people's business. I know that's not serving my higher good. I'm talking about my business, but if you're just talking about your business to talk about your business, look, my whole content is me talking about my business, but I bet you I have never left you sitting here like, why did she tell me that? Every single piece of my business that I have shared with you had an anchor point, which means I told you what I'm going through, telling you my business, which is where most people stop, and that's where gossip starts. After I told you my business, I told you what I learned from it and what you possibly can carry from it. Therefore, you can't choose to gossip after you have an anchor point, which means you're just a gossip and you got work to do. But after I gave you that anchor point that you can now relate to and now you can apply it to your life and you can apply it to your healing, guess what? Now you can use that information to evolve yourself. You don't have to watch fictitious characters on TV to try to figure out how to figure this life out. Because we got to learn from somewhere. Someone has to show us the possibilities. How do we know something's possible? They used to think that the earth is flat, and some of you guys still do. I personally don't care. As long as I don't fall off the side of this, shit could be round, it could be flat. I don't care. But they used to think the earth was flat until someone did some sort of discovery somewhere that said, yo, it's not flat. Now we know the possibilities. So we must have someone to show us the possibilities. Someone was like, man, you need to stop arguing with your husband online. I was like, first of all, I don't argue with him anymore. I used to, but I don't argue with my husband online anymore. Now I say what I say, but the energy is not there. The message is still the same, but the energy is completely different. It's not my fault that you can't read the room. Thank you for the love. But someone said you need to stop arguing with your husband online. I was like, no, I'm never going to stop arguing with my husband online. I'm never going to stop posting my videos. I'm never going to stop any of those things. Why? Because first and foremost, in 2013, God told me to live my life out loud. God said, tell your business, Lonnie. I was like, well, shoot, I ain't got a problem telling my business. Thank you for sharing the live. I ain't got a problem telling my business. What I got to hide? But God told me with an anchor point. God didn't just tell me to tell my business. God told me tell your business, because by telling your business, you will help others live in their truths. As they see you walk confidently in your truth and they looking around like, she ain't been ostracized? What? This is possible? That's why I do what I do. I don't encourage other people to do what I do because have you been called to do it? You can be inspired by me, but have you been called to tell your business? And is your spouse okay with it? I don't encourage you to try to be like me, but what I do encourage you to do is know that it's possible to heal with your spouse, to bump and have disagreements with your spouse, to heal your relationship with your children, to admit that you failed them as a parent, to admit that your parents failed you, to admit your limitations. It's okay. Why? Because the moment we admit that we have limitations is the moment that we can correct them. And if I did not do this out loud, who else is doing it? Who else is doing it? I ain't never seen it. Everybody who is out here who is professing themselves to be a guru, we don't know their real lives. And I'm not telling you, or I'm not saying that you know my real lives, but I literally pick up the camera and just start recording, and whatever you catch, you catch. And I be on live. And then you use your spirit of discernment. You can figure, I'm sure you can figure out if we acting, faking, and flogging and pretending to be who we are. But those of you who use your spirit of discernment, and those of you who are actively healing, you already know this is real. And in this reality, you can now start forming your reality. So when people tell me to stop, I say, no, you stop. I'm going to keep doing what God told me to do. So when you are talking about yourself and you are not providing an anchor point, when you do not provide an anchor point and you are just talking to talk, you are trauma bonding and gossiping about yourself. And what do people do with gossip? They run and tell that, right? My sister and I would talk for hours about our shared trauma, and that was the totality of our relationship. Present day, our husbands annoying us, our kids frustrating us. I mean, what else? What else is there out there that we can trauma bond over? No wonder when she called me trash 3 years ago, it was so easy for us to end our association. And notice I didn't say our sisterhood, our friendship, our bond. No, I ended our association. My sister was an associate. That word right there speaks volumes. Pay attention to your bonds, your relationships, your spouse, with your children, with your friends, siblings, and most importantly, pay attention to your bonds with yourself. How many moments of value are you creating with yourself? Or are you living one big trauma bonded life? And then you sit down and wonder why you hate yourself, why you resent your life. What positive energy are you flowing into yourself daily? How much time are you spending in trauma validating thought cycles? I can help you heal through that, but you have to be willing. If you're curious of my writing style, my teaching style, what to expect when you pick up your copy of What's the Best That Can Happen, here you go. I just read you my journal entry. You want to know what my writing style is? Here you go. If I could teach you in this little journal entry that I did in 30 minutes, what can I teach you in a book that took me a month to write? I don't know. You have to pick up the book on Amazon. Here you go. Let's get connected. Get the book. Get in the book. As I go through this book, I literally wrote this entry off of one sentence. One sentence triggered healing for me. And we need to stop associating. Fatima brought this to my attention, our last live. She brought it to my attention. Trigger is not a negative. Everything's on the pendulum, right, guys? A trigger point can be just, okay, boom, pay attention. Okay, healing. One sentence triggered this journal entry for me to explore the brokenness within my sister and myself in our relationship. Thank you, Pat. That is right. In my ability to just release her so easily. I released her so easily because there was nothing relatable between us except for the blood that flows through our veins. So make sure you are getting your book and you are going paragraph by paragraph and reflecting and healing. Hop on these lives for 5-minute chats, and if you need a one-on-one session, make sure you hit me in my DM so we could do one-on-one hour sessions. Get engaged with the content on all platforms as the apple turns, and let's start healing intentionally. Today's message is never stop expecting change. This message comes from Chapter 14, Free Your Mind. page 87. Free your mind. The names of these chapters are funny to me. Limited expectations of others will limit your relationships with others. Allow people to grow into who they are. If we allow that change on a moment-to-moment basis, we may find that old things become new again. For some reason, we feel people stop growing once their physical body stops growing. We openly expect an infant to a toddler, toddler to a child, child to an adolescent, adolescent to an adult. We are more than open to welcome and expect not only physical change, but psychological change. But once a person reaches adulthood, for some strange reason, we expect them to stay the same. Begin to expect change and accept people for who they are without creating a storyline behind it. If you like vanilla today and chocolate tomorrow, that is perfectly fine. Y'all, I was eating a chocolate cupcake the other day and I was like, I remember when I hated chocolate cupcakes, but this thing is banging. If you elect to have a little swirl, that's okay too. The only constant in life is change. The energy never dies, but old energy can be burnt off. I should do an audiobook. I got a nice little flow. Look, don't take anything for granted. I was a teacher for a reason, and I learned how to read out loud. Allow yourself and others to just be. It will take work in the beginning. That's actually a brilliant idea, Ree. Because I think that this will have, extra confirmation. Earlier, Carby was like, I really want to read your book, but I'm not really a reader. Is there an audio book? And I was like, sis, if you want the information, you'll get the information. Just because you're not something doesn't mean that you cannot be something in order to get what you need from it. But now you're just saying, okay, come through audio book. Let me go on ahead and do an audio book. Why should I limit my audience? Boom, let me look into that. Confirmation. Allow yourself and others to just be. It will take work in the beginning. You have spent a lifetime building up these defenses and like strategic warfare. It will take some doing to tear down those walls. But stay with it. Don't start, then stop. Refuse the tendency to repress and close, which is the reactive brain. Live in victory and not defeat. And drop those bags on the side of the road. Punch that gas and get out of there. Free your mind and the rest will follow. I'm not a reader, but I bought the book. I'm listening to you read while I cook dinner. And I know that's right. Amen. So today we're going to talk about never stop expecting change. Changing yourself and changing others. And that doesn't mean you don't see something or someone for what they are. And this is not to be mistaken for this seeing someone's potential that we currently use. So many of us find ourselves trapped in seeing someone's potential. The potential that we see is that we already see someone moving within our set standards and expectations for ourselves. These are the type of people that I want to surround myself with. These are the type of people that uplift me. I have built my community because my community builds me. Within that community, everybody has not reached their highest point. Remember, we are expecting change. Infant, toddler, child, adolescent, adulthood, teenager, somewhere in there, I don't know. The point that I'm making is we need to surround ourselves with people whose potential is our potential. We need not surround ourselves with he or she is not doing anything progressive with their life, but I see their potential. No, you are wasting your time because it is not your job to grow anyone. Everyone should be growing themselves. But if you align yourself with someone who is feeding you, now you can now see their potential. I see my husband's potential, which means he is slowly evolving. He's slowly changing. Yes, he's fighting me every step of the way because the progression that I am introducing to him is so foreign to him. He comes from the ideology of our generation where we are who we are. Once we physically stop changing, we grown. And we think just because our physical body stops changing, that our mental and our personality our likes and dislikes, all of those things. Do you understand that there are some people out there who are still eating foods that they actually don't like because the people around them will not allow them to change? Thank you for the love. They will not allow them the space to change and evolve and become who they are today. Do you understand that there are some wives who are doing the shopping for their spouses or whoever does the shopping, but I'm speaking from my perspective. There are some spouses who are doing shopping for the other spouse, and they're buying things that their spouse liked when they first got together 10 years ago, and their spouse is too shamed, too embarrassed, too whatever to admit, or their spouse is too sensitive, i.e., you don't appreciate what I did for you. You don't. They don't want to deal with that, so they are stuck because their spouse refuses to allow them the space to change and evolve. There are some people who are living false realities because the person that they have aligned with will not allow for the space of change. But we have to understand, just because we reach adulthood, just because we reach a place of I am no longer being mind controlled by my mother and father or whoever my provider is or guardian, and now I can create who I am. And in that creating who you are, what are you, 18, 19, 20, 25, however old you did the process of starting to create who you are and deciding this is who I am. We assume from that space, this is where I stop. And I just want to encourage you to never stop expecting change, because the only constant in life is change, and it is everything moment to moment. Do you understand? I watched a video that I published in March about talking about my daughters washing the dishes, and the caption that I wrote, I just had to laugh at myself. In the past, I would judge myself. Oh my God, I can't believe I came from that perspective. But today I just laughed at myself. I was like, dang, how close-minded was I? How need for control was I? I understand the need to control because I was extremely controlling. I won't say that I am extremely controlling because I'm aware. The moment you have awareness is the moment you start doing the work. The moment you have the ability and knowing that you can change who you are, we are freaking chameleons. No wonder, never mind, I'm not going to make that, I'm going to leave that alone. But no wonder, we're chameleons out here. We can evolve and change and adapt and adapt and adapt. Yo, think about what our people been through. We have to continue to evolve and to change and adapt and adapt and adapt. We are the first generation that's not changing. We are the first generation that's out here chasing money because we believe as we elevate our economical status. Yesterday we had a family meeting and we were talking about finances. And I was like, Dre, you got to be transparent. You got to let the people who are in this family know what the hell is going on, because what's going on in this house is impacting everyone. So you need to be transparent. He's like, I am being transparent. I was like, no. Because for people to still have questions means you're only offering what you're offering. You're only offering what you're comfortable offering. But everyone is impacted by what is happening in this house right now. So everybody needs to be on the same page. And God, I don't remember why I started talking about that. We had our family meeting yesterday. I told him to be transparent and to let everyone know. I don't remember why I was talking about that. Why the hell did that escape me? That was some good. I wasn't good in the respect that, I had a point. I had a freaking point. God dang it. Sometimes I really get upset when I lose a thought. But then I go back to my original thought and then I go on a whole new tangent and life is good. So let's go. Anyway, we had our family meeting yesterday and I was just telling Dre, you need to be transparent and let everybody know so that we can all be on the same page. And we come from a generation where our personalities are set in stone. My dad definitely comes from a generation where their personalities are set in stone.
Hey, Mom.
Yes, Kaden.
They maybe don't get another good by later.
Yes. You're welcome. And others, allow others to change. Yes, we all have to be able to change. We all have to be able to evolve in order for us to know who we are present day. Guess what? If I chose to create Lonnie in her 20s, that was 2 decades ago. That means that I am walking around with the same philosophies and ideologies that I had even before I had children. I am raising children with the same ideologies that I created in my head before I even had kids to raise. Isn't that something? We are raising children under the same ideologies that we cultivated, created in theory. That's why I love that Andre Jr. is here, because he's actually able, one of his pride points I can see for him is to be a provider. One of his pride points I see for him is to be a father. So I sit here and I watch him, and I'm so thankful that he has an opportunity. We move as a collective over here. We do not have the hierarchy parent-child thing anymore. We are all just flowing together, moving together. Now, I tell you, they took it too far when I saw Michael having Caden do wall sits, and I was just like, so you give him a punishment, huh? Yeah, he played with my Kindle and I told him not to. So he got to do wall sits, huh? Yeah. Okay. I think this isn't it. I think we need to draw this collective back when the 6-year-old starts giving punishments to the 4-year-old. Yeah, I think that one's a little too far. But we move as a collective, which means I love the fact that Andre Jr. can come into this space. Pat, I'm serious. It's crazy over here. The 11-year-old is giving the 6 and the 4-year-old punishments. And I'm sitting here like, this what we doing? We need to have a family meeting to see if this is okay. I'm not going to make the decision. I'm not going to strip them. It's crazy. I don't know how it sits with me, sis. Because I'm just like, you punishing him, and then he gonna start, like, is the 4-year-old Devin out punishments too? Yo, and in the family meeting, Dre did something I can't remember he did, and Angel was like, you need a punishment. And Dre refused to do his wall sits and hold out his arms with his cans, but he did something wrong. If the kids get a punishment for doing something wrong, why don't the adults? I don't know. I'm not doing no goddamn wall sits unless I'm in the mentality that I'm working out. Ree was telling me I need to ride my bike for self-care. I was like, that's a workout to me. Great point, though. So anyway, we're having this family meeting, and we move as a collective, and I really love that Andre Jr. has the opportunity to practice all these theories that he has of being a father. He can work out the kinks before he gets his actual family. He can see what theories work and he can see what theories don't. And he can work out and he can converse with us. He can help us grow and evolve as parents. He can help us start figuring out how we can better parent. By allowing your children to give you the feedback of how they want to be raised, now you can start raising effective children. And all of this is foreign to us because, like I said, we come from a generation that rejects change. I'm grown. I'm physically done changing. Therefore, I'm done changing. But why am I loving the way that I learned to love when I was 20? Why am I raising kids under a theory that I created when I didn't even have kids? Why am I eating a diet that I was eating in my 20s? And in my 20s, I was barely living. I was like, where's the Snickers? All right, I'm good. I was surviving off of candy in my 20s. Why am I still surviving off of candies in my 40s? I don't know, but I need to fix it. But that's all I got. We need to live in expectancy of change. Changing ourselves, changing those around us. And if we are not willing to allow ourselves to change, if we are surrounded by people who will not allow us to change, these are all things that we need to pay attention to. Because the only constant in life is change. The moment we are born, we are dying. I would say the moment that we are conceived, we are dying. And just think, there were millions of sperms that were released and only one of them made it. So those sperms didn't even make it to the goal. They died upon release. So from conception, we are dying. So why are we living in the same mental, spiritual spaces that we have been living in for decades? And something came to me, and then I'll open up the floor so that we can have a conversation. Something came to me today that our inflexibility to accept any other way but our way is rooted in religion. These religions are like, this is the only way. And because religion and spirituality and connection with God is at such a high point in our lives, it's like the blueprint of inflexibility. Like religion, God is, and they tell us we can only believe in God in one way. We can only follow one path. I was talking to someone earlier, and it was just like, they have issues with the Bible. And I was just like, girl, take what you need from the Bible and throw the rest away. What feeds you, feed on it. And what doesn't, throw it away. But we were taught that you can't be willy-nilly with the Bible. It's all or nothing. But this is the same Bible they used to justify lynching. This is the same Bible they used to justify to capture and kill your ancestors. So are we really following the Bible to a T? Are we really proud Christians? And do you? But what I'm saying is to mindly follow one ideology that was passed down from generation to generation, and most of us are only Christians simply because we grew up and we birthed into a Christian household. I didn't choose Christianity. Christianity chose me. No. How did I find Christianity? How did you find Christianity, y'all? Or whatever your religion is, our spiritual background. I found Christianity, the first memory that I have is Vacation Bible School. I don't know your parents. Yeah. I don't know how I got linked up with Vacation Bible School, but I remember I used to get on the bus. My parents stayed home. They didn't attend church, but I used to get on the bus, and that's how I remember being introduced to Christianity. But I also know that through my life, and maybe this is why I'm so receptive to spirituality. Maybe I'm so receptive to there's many paths, one God. Everybody's like, nah, you only got to go this way. I was born into it. No, you can only go this way. No, there are many paths to one God. Argue with yourself. Maybe I'm so receptive because I remember as a child, I grew up and my dad was a Jehovah's Witness, and we used to have study groups. The same dad that never went to church at some point in his life. And I've identified that I think a spiritual portal opens up every 10 years. This is the latest video I published because in 2013 and 2012, I was seeking something. And like spirituality was all the rave. Everybody's like, oh, spirituality, vision boards, it was saturated. And after it was no longer cool and everybody's, shh, everything calmed down, only the true one stayed, Everybody else followed the next trend. And we're in that trend again right now. Every time you turn on the video, I'm watching this gossip thing. I don't even know what it's called, but there's this gossip page that I watch on YouTube. They be telling people's business, and I be like, for real? Mm-hmm. And then what they do? I got to unplug sometimes. And so I'm watching this page, and all of a sudden, because the climate has changed into a progressive space of a self-love space, they are inserting these teaching points. Well, according to studies, childhood trauma, I'm like, bitch, just get to I just want to hear the gossip. If I wanted to be fed, I would go to a place where that could truly feed me. You are following trend. So you're actually offending me. Like, I get it, but no, I'm good. If I come to the shade room, I'm not coming to hear evolutionary thought. I'm coming to the shade room because I'm coming for the shade. Do not spew hate and then lightly veil it with love. Not to someone who is truly out here evolving and healing. And I get it. I get. No, please go. I get both sides of it. You gon' get, when you seeking, you gon' get it where you can, and it's gonna hit you where it can. Some people have found God sitting on a subway bench because the person next to them is talking about something. So it's gonna hit you off where it's gonna hit you off and how it's gonna hit you off. So I get it. The introduction. But also I just really see the topicality, the profit off of it. Oh, this what we doing? Okay, how can I still make my hate and my degradation, how can I make my degradation to my community still viable in this current climate? And that's what we're experiencing right now. And so we have to pay attention to that. And so my dad was searching and he became a Jehovah's Witness. And one year, we moved back to Colorado, and the girl that I went to school with, her dad was a pastor, so I started going to church with them. I used to pray every week that I would come in contact somehow with $1 so I could put money in the offering plate, so I could tithe, because they make you feel so bad, like people looking around. I love when you can start tithing online, because the pressure to put something in the offering plate, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I'm judging. Oh, you just gonna pass the plate? You ain't got nothing? So I used to pray every Sunday that I had something, just $1. And even that just $1, I was putting 100%. Yep, been there. I was putting 100% of what I had in that plate. But I used to go to church with her. And then I had another friend. I stayed with her over the summer. Yeah, I lived a lot of places and with a lot of different people. I had another friend and they were Catholic. I love Catholicism because they was in and out in an hour. I was like, boom, we getting in there, we getting our little bloop, bloop, bloop. Ain't none of this hooping and hollering, ain't none of that stuff. We in and out, boom. I like this. And it started like 11 o'clock. I was like, this the lick. And then I came back and, I moved to Arizona, and my aunt was a Christian. And she brought me back to Christianity. And then that just left me so fucked up that I turned atheist for a while. I was like, if this is what relationship with God is, if this is who and what God is, I'm good. And then after I turned atheist, I started actually seeking relationship with God. And then I was like, okay, I think I can go back and be a Christian, to the point where I wanted to go to seminary. Wanted to go to seminary school and become a pastor. Started listening to the Bible, started reading the Bible, wanted to teach the Bible and really start teaching people how to truly be in relationship with God. I'm happy that that was not the path that I chose, because I would hate to be caught in that box. But it was in that disassociation from God. Not God. I did disassociate from God, but it was in that disassociation from religion that I truly got to know God. And when I got to know God, I opened up to tarot. I opened up to intuition, clairvoyancy, clair, whatever they're called, because there's clairaudience, clairvoyancy, I think is the umbrella that all the clairs fall under. I opened up to, I do have spiritual gifts. I opened up to all of those things, the clairs, yes. I opened up to all of those things because it was no longer of the devil to me. And in that searching and knowing and tapping into my own intuition and understanding who and what I was, I downloaded this book. So that was my journey to understanding my power. It is a partnership. But since I'm out here having this physical existence and living this physical life, I am open up to my power. And I am here on this earth in this lifetime to open you up to your power. And you can sit and you can watch my videos and you can do all those things and listen to these lives, y'all. I listened to my live the other day and I was like, yo, this is what y'all sitting and listening to. Damn it, I sit on this bitch for 3 hours too because I'm spitting hot fire. Ooh, that shit was igniting my soul and it came out my mouth. But just so you know, I'm the vessel. This ain't me. You know when it's me because I start stumbling. I'm like, I'm downloading because I'm like, what the hell did I just say? Because it just goes, whoop, boom. You said what you needed to say. That's what you just said. So you could tell the difference between when it's Lonnie and you could tell when I'm downloading. I don't know who the hell I'm downloading from. You know, ain't nobody gave me no names. Call her Annetta. Annetta's my reincarnation that goes from lifetime to lifetime. If you guys have not named your souls, please do. Let me know if you guys have named your souls. If you guys have not named your souls, please do, because anything that does not have a name gets ignored. And if you are trying to find your divinity in this lifetime, if you are trying to find your purpose here in this lifetime, if you are trying to find anything, because inside of you, you know you should be seeking, just existing isn't good enough for you. You need more. But what the hell is more? I don't know. Start with naming your soul. And those of you who are on the topical side of that and you don't know the history, we are duality. And that is why this book is called The Beginning, Being, because it was supposed to be a 2-part series. The first book, or this is the first book because I knew enough to tackle the spirituality first. And ultimately I'm going to write, but now I'm delivering through videos, but I'm going to write the human side. In the beginning, being. Now we are tackling the human side. So if your human side is seeking, it's just like, you know, this ain't it. That is because your being is like, yo, wake up. I did not come here for this. And the first piece that you need to do is name it. I call this spirit. In my book, at the time, the language, when I said spirit, I meant higher self spirit. Today in 2023, when I say spirit, I mean our current incarnation, our flesh, our physical form, our meat suit. My spirit, and I say spirit because I associate spirit with youth. I associate soul with depth. So my spirit is youthful. My spirit is just here for this lifetime. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. That's what my spirit said. And that is Lonnie. Yes, this is a meat suit girl. I know I'm not her. I am to the point in my life where I know that I'm not her. She just doing the work for me. And that's going to sound foreign to most of you, but those of you who are awoken or waking up, you understand what the hell I just said. So my spirit is Lonnie. She's doing the work. She's speaking the words, but she is not the message. So I won't say I'll never, because who knows? But I'll never get so full of myself to be like, yeah, this me. Yeah, that's me. Oh, it's crazy that I got Marilyn Monroe right now. I got a story about her. The soul, reincarnation, lifetime to lifetime, to soak up game. If you are confused about why you came here, I talk about your purpose in the book. There's many purposes. The purpose is your purpose. That might even be what I called the topic. I called the chapter. Let me see what I called the chapter. The purpose is your purpose. That is so funny. I don't know if y'all could read that. Let me see. Anyway, y'all just gonna trust me. If you get the book, you'll understand. Chapter 29, the purpose is your purpose. The purpose is your purpose. And we're here to soak up game. We're here to learn as much as we possibly can. And we're here to teach each other. We are all teachers. Our first students are ourselves. Our second students are our children and our spouses and anyone who we come into meaningful contact with. You all have taught me, and you all have told me that I have taught you. We're all teachers. Anyway, reincarnation, lifetime to lifetime, that's Ednetta. So maybe Ednetta is the one delivering these messages. Why not? Let's give it a name. Let's give it a name. It's just the people that I researched who were channels, they were like, it just came to me. I was automatic writing, and all of a sudden it says, my name is Ramtha. My name is, who is the other one? We know Esther Hicks. Who is Esther Hicks person? Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. And then I just found Bashar. Are there any black channels? The 3 channels that I have found, Abraham, yes, the 3 channels that I have found have been white people. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just curious. Are there any black channels, and are black people channeling, but they're afraid to say so because we've been taught that's of the devil? We're all channels, i.e., and I learned this from Sis Girl, and it makes sense. We're all channels, it's just a difference in our connectivity. Oh, there are. Okay, you have to let me know. Send me a message and let me know who the black channels are. I'm curious. All right, y'all, let me go into these questions, or these situations real quick. Comments. Religion was introduced from the parents, grew up in it, chose spirituality instead of religion. Wise choice, my friend. Live your own truth. My son is a Christian, but I talked about this a couple lives back. His path to create Christianity was so methodic that I gotta respect it. I was like, well, shoot, you actually thought about it. You weren't just born into it. You weren't just searching and you picked it up and you're like, well, this is the most common choice. Let's go here. You didn't do any of the things that we typically do to get to Christianity. He actually is a trader. He works in stocks. And he was like, this doesn't make sense. And so he started tracing the money back and traced it to Christianity. And however, whatever, y'all know I only know 50% of the story. However, wherever, he chose that religion. And so I was like, well, shoot, since you just didn't hop in and you actually researched your way to it, boom, let's have a conversation. Not that I was closed off to a conversation before, but, I was standoffish because y'all know how us former and present Christians are. Yeah. I now know that Christianity is not the only access to God. God is in all things. All things. God is in all things. Now, I remember in 2012, 2013, I used to say, God is in this table. And Christians would look at me all crazy like, God is not in that table. I was like, was the table a tree? God created the tree. All living things are of God. So all living things are God, but that may be too much for you right now. God, all living things are of God. That makes you feel good, right? So how is God not this table? If we think God is limited to this mystical being in the sky, how can we ever make God tangible to us? And that's why I attach to the ancestral altar, because even though I ain't done, y'all, can I share my shame with y'all? I haven't been at my altar in so long. There's no longer water in my water container. That's how long it's been since I've done altar work. But I attach to altar work because now I have a space to commune with God. I could commune with my ancestors. My ancestors are God. I am God. You are God. I don't care how that makes you feel, you are. And the day you wake up to that, the day you will realize how fucking powerful you are. We are all extensions of our parents. And if mom and dad created me, therefore I can say that I am of my mom and dad. I am my mom and dad. Why can't I say that I am of God? I am God because God created me, because some man told me not to, because there must be a separation between me and my divine? You definitely believe that for yourself. But as for me and my household, we are God. And that's my sky daddy. Therefore, I am of him. I'm going to leave that alone. Facts. Yup, been there. I used to be a faithful tither. Man, I was too. I have given so much money to the church. And look, boom. I have a history, not present, but I have a history of getting lump sums. And so one year I had got so much money and I was always giving my 10%. I was like, man, I'm going to do like the Muslims do. I'm giving 3% because y'all eating too much in my wallet. But, I used to give my 10% and I would do first fruits. I would do tithes and I got offerings. Look at how many different ways they got to get money up out of us. We got first fruits. We got tithes. We got offering. And we got, the building fund. So we got all these different ways to give our money up to the church, right? The church that we must attend in order to know God, because God is outside of us. God is not within us. Y'all see? Anyway, so I remember I was giving all my money to the church. And then when I didn't even have a church home, I would find an online pastor and I would donate there just so I could be given. And I'm just like, look, if God loves a cheerful giver. And then in spirituality, I learned the law of giving and receiving. I could give anything, anywhere. And that is pleasing to God. I don't have to give to a church. And that's why I put my Cash App out there. I'm just like, look, if I'm blessing you, by all means, bless me. Because God's not limiting his favor towards people who put their money in an offering plate. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Anyway, yeah. It was good while it lasted. The Claire's. Hot fire. The messenger of healing the soul. I am. I see people's souls. That's my superpower. I see people's souls. That's why I'm able to connect with you all. I'm able to, like I said, y'all aren't just listening to anybody. You guys are like me in the respect that you probably don't like people. And it's not that I don't like people. I just see through you. And the majority of people are fake. And so I don't like being around people. I went to this little concert the other day, and like soon as I went, I used to think that I was judging people because I would be looking people in the eye and all kinds of crazy stuff is running through my head. And I'm like, stop thinking that, Lonnie. Stop thinking that, Lonnie. Like, that's rude. Why are you thinking that? And I used to be like, man, control your thoughts. You got to get this under control, sis. You don't need to be thinking this about people. And then one day I woke up to like, this is probably what's going on in their head. Ooh. I do know I experienced telepathy. I don't know how. All of my gifts, I know how to read souls. I know how to intentionally do that. But otherwise, I don't know how to use any of my other gifts intentionally. I just know that they're there because I know that they're there. And so I went to this little event and I walked into this space around all these people and just all these thoughts that I do not have when I'm sitting alone in my fucking room. When I'm sitting alone in my fucking room, I don't have any of these thoughts. But the moment I get around people, all of these thoughts start bombarding me. And I was just like, I got to be picking up their energy. And this is terrible. But what was so crazy, while me and my friend were standing in line, we were having a conversation. And I really don't participate in conversations that don't feed my soul. I'm sorry, I don't. You'll get a for real? That's the most you'll get from me if it's not feeding me. And so I'm standing there and I'm having a conversation with my friend, and the couple in front of us, they were listening. The chick in the line to the side was listening. The chick who was standing behind us was listening. Like, everybody was listening because they were getting fed. And we were not gossiping. We were sharing our life experiencing, creating current connection points, and healing each other. But what was interesting to me, and I wanted to share, I haven't made a video about it, but what was interesting to me is when I was talking like this, but when my friend started sharing her side, she started bleeping out words. I was like, sis, nobody around us knows us, but you are so private about your business that you are around a bunch of people you will never see again in life, and you are whispering. That is crazy to me. I'm not judging it. I'm just like, yo, you are so secretive and private about what you're experiencing that you are around a group of strangers you will never again see in your life, and you are still, what? I don't know. Oh, shoot. I hate when it does that. Hold on. There we go. Reincarnation. Sorry, y'all. I can't resist. And you better go off, Re. There are, but can't name the top. I will. Thank you for sending me that, Pat. It's not too much, girl. My altar is dried up, honey. You are not alone. Ain't this something? I dismantled mine. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Boom. Let's have that conversation real quick. I've been hesitant to say this because I almost feel like I'm on the outside looking in the respect. And look, this is my own feeling. And if someone who is in a different space, who is truly healing and is truly healed, no ED, who's truly doing the work, they should give me the freedom to say what I want to say. But it was given to me a while back that the altar are training wheels. The altar is training wheels. The altar is something tangible to give you, because we are in this physical incarnation, and in order for us to truly attach to spirit, we must name our reincarnation, right? Name our souls, give it a name so it can, okay, bitch, I'm here. Hello, Lonnie, I got something to say, give it energy, give it life. And the altar for me may not be for you, but the altar for me was just training wheels to get me to know my connectivity with God, to get me to know that God is in me. I don't have to go sit at an altar. And a lot of that is just because every time I sit at the altar, I'm just like, I really don't know what I'm doing, guys. I don't know if I'm displeasing to you. I don't even know what to feed y'all. I don't know what none of y'all's favorite foods were. And whatever your favorite food was, I probably don't eat it, and then I got to intentionally go buy something, but damn it, I'm struggling to feed my fucking family, and now I got to go buy a special meal for you. Like, there's levels to this altar stuff, and I'm on the training wheels. Like, I just needed to know that the God was in me, and I received the God from you, and I appreciate you. But I know that you got me whether I sit here and bring you a steak dinner. I know that you got me whether I bring you some brown liquor. I know that you got me. And I got you. But they ain't told me nothing they want yet, except through a psychic who told me to give them some tobacco and some coins. And so I gave him some tobacco and some coins. But I'm damn near to the point where I'm about to spend this money on my altar, which I know is blasphemy. But god dang it, Lord. They about to cut this phone off. But I know I got $50 sitting over there. I ain't right. They gonna get me, y'all. They gonna get me. They have been calling me to sit with them. Man, I don't know if I've been being called to return to the altar, or it's just a practice that I know that I value and I want to keep up. I don't know. I just know that I do what I'm inspired to do. And this is what my inspiration looks like right now. And I accept it. Love offering. See, look, tip the tip jar. Please tip the tip jar. Help a sister out. I was about to say that. Empath. Yes, I am an empath. I remember one day I hugged my friend's dad, and instantly my back started hurting. And later on, my friend said something where she was just like, my dad has back pains. I was like, boom, there it goes. I remember I had a friend who was going to get, I don't know if I could say the word, the no longer being pregnant. I took her to the clinic, and I was chilling just like this. Boom, boom, boom. I walk into that clinic and I instantly turn into a bitch. I'm talking to the girl behind the counter like I'm throwing her attitude, and the whole time I'm like, Lonnie, why are you throwing this girl attitude? And I was like, I don't know, but I can't help it. And then I stepped up out of that clinic and instantly I turned back into myself. I was like, yo, the negative energy that's in that building just jumped on my ass. So yeah, definitely an empath. And that's what happens when I go into public settings. That's why I try to keep my ass real, sitting in this bedroom on this bed. Even my own family, I went into an energy shutdown, and I explained it to them last night in our family meeting. I was like, look, I know you guys think I'm walking around with the attitude and all these different things. It's not that. I just go into this energy shutdown where I just cannot give or receive anyone else's energy. But that's kind of impossible when you're a mother and a wife. Or if it's on the other side, but I'm speaking my truth. And so I'm just trying to make myself as small as possible, even though I have to commune with others. So yeah, this empath thing is real. I can't wait to get to the point where I know how to take care of myself. Right now, I'm just downloading so many things. But, I really want to get into the healing arts. I really want to get into all those different things. I just don't know necessarily how to get in, like root work, someone told me. And I know I come from a long line of, I just call them witches, but I know that's not what they're called. But I come from a long line of women who, prior to Christianity, like they practice voodoo and all those different things. And I'm not interested in anything that's not of divinity, but root work and really just tapping in and learning natural healing and my ability to heal myself and to heal others. Like, I'm really excited to figure out how to tap into my gifts, because I believe when I tap into my gifts, I'm going to do some pretty amazing things with humanity, and not humanity as everybody, but if what I'm capable of doing, and when I say I'm capable, it's not me being full of myself. I'm done giving disclaimers. I'm going to talk, y'all. If what I'm capable of doing without even knowing what the fuck is going on, can you imagine what I would be capable of doing if I knew what was going on? You know what I'm saying? So I'm really excited to get to the space of knowing, because boom, when I get to the space of knowing, you already know what's going to happen. What's going to happen once I know? Let me tell you something. I done figured it out. Because my gifts are my gifts, your gifts are your gifts. But if I figure out how to tap into my gifts, now I can tell you how to tap into your gifts. The things is, the people who have figured out how to tap into their gifts, they're holding it behind closed doors unless you pay them. And I get it. But I need all of us to be free. I need all of us to tap into our divinity. The more of us that can awaken, and thank you for the love, the more of us that can awaken to who the fuck we are, and please double tap the screen, share the live. If I'm blessing you, I can bless others. And the more you engage with the live, TikTok pushes it out there. The more of us who wake up to our divinity and know who we are, we as a people can rise, because we are under the disillusion to believe that our elevation is in money, even though our current circumstances are teaching us the complete opposite. But some of us are just too focused on the money. Yeah, nah. Oh, boom, thank you. That's why Dre said in our family meeting, somebody just walked through the door. Dre said in our family meeting, he was like, I've been humbled in this financial space. He's like, I've been humbled. I was like, and so later on after our family meeting, I told him, I was like, I'm so happy that you're taking something from this financial space that we're in, aside from anger, aside from disappointment, aside from I'm too old to be going through this, aside from anything else. I'm happy that you've been humbled to know that you are more than a fucking ATM. The Queen Poe. I know her. She's a channel? I didn't know that. I watched some of her videos, some of her lives where she's sharing all kinds of stuff. She would be a good person to teach me. Yeah, she could reach me too, because I actually listened to some of her messages. So she is someone that I could receive what she's saying. She the real deal so far. I'm not going to say so far like it's going to change, but, you know, I don't ever want to co-sign something and say, well, you said, so I always got to put the disclaimer on there. So far, she has proven to know what the fuck she's talking about. She's real good too. Yeah, she's real good. She's real good. She's real good. Yeah, check out Queen Poe. Yep. Confirmation. You'll do better. There is my girl, Von Treese. I haven't seen you in so long, Von Treese. I hope you're still there. Hey, friend. Money is a tool. Yes, I'm a part of her wellness community. Yes, she is awesome. I need to join her wellness community. Yes, it's worth it, Pat. Gotta run. Enjoy the talk as usual. It's been real. Bye, Ree. You're probably already gone. She doesn't let the money manipulate her teaching. She's awesome. $5. Yeah, it's $5 to join the wellness community. I'm glad you caught me as well. I'm just talking, you know how I do. But if anyone who has got the book, because this is a book club, until we get our numbers up, it's Lonnie on live. But if you have the book and you would like to hop on as a guest, let's go. Yes, Discord and everything. Okay, I'm going to check her out. If you would like to hop on as a guest, we could do that now. Otherwise, I'm going to check out the Queen Poe. I'm going to check her out when I get off of live. Otherwise, how's everyone doing? I'm going to start bringing on guests. I'm going to listen this time because the kids are crying. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, when you guys come on, please try to, thank you for taking that into consideration. Please try to lessen or eliminate the background noise as much as possible because it's hard to hear. Y'all already know when my kids are going crazy in the background, it's hard to hear, so I respect that. Yeah, I'm gonna, what was I saying? I don't remember. But I've been reading a lot of memes lately, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start a series where I'm just blowing these memes out, which means posting a meme and then just talking about it, because a lot of these memes, like, you can say something in a sentence or two, right? But things get shared because they hit the masses. First of all, popularity, things that are popular. I was thinking today, there's billions of people on this earth. So for me to get a following of 1 million people, like 1 million followers and stuff like that, that's not a lot. It is a lot. And I'm not speaking from it's not a lot. No, I'm speaking it from, there's billions of people on this earth. So 1 million of the billions, thank you, sis. The millions of the billions is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, right? But if, we get that's a lot of people that we could be impacting, that we will be impacting with this message. And then this message can continue to permeate into the world and the healing can continue. So I'm excited about all of the potential. I'm no longer, on the why support, all those different things. Those of you who are unaware, I'm on YouTube. All of my longer videos are being moved there. So I'll give you a little snippet of the longer 7-minute video over on YouTube. So make sure you guys are following As the Apple Turns on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, I'm on Twitter, and that's where I'm communicating and writing. So I recently did a post where on the Shade Room, they were talking about how verbal abuse. They said yelling in the headline, but the actual study was verbal abuse. verbal abuse and SA abuse is equivalent to the same trauma points as, I posted it on my Facebook, so hold on. I don't want to say this wrong. I don't know how to navigate Facebook from a computer. Let's see what happens. It's thinking. Let me see it. Bend over, let me see it. That's not high vibrational music, but I still like it. Let me see it, bend over, let me see it. Y'all listen to UGK? I like UGK. Study says shouting at children, so shouting is actually verbal abuse. Studies say verbal abuse is just as harmful as physical and S abuse. And so everybody in the comments was like, yes, I'm sorry, yes, I am as the apple turns everywhere. I don't do Snapchat. I don't even know how to work that. I was like, if my kids really want to be on the down low, they get their ass on Snapchat. I can't even figure out how to open that stuff up. And so everybody in the comments, they were really just going back and forth. Like, how absurd of you to compare S abuse and physical abuse to yelling. Like, I got yelled at and I'm fine. And I'm just like, you guys are worried about the wrong goddamn thing. Y'all over here arguing the comparisons. And you really need to look at the trauma that choosing to speak to your children in whatever tone that you're speaking to your children in the trauma and the resentment and all those different things that you're causing. And so, I don't remember why I got on that. I'm looking at this baby with the tears in his eyes. The baby got the tears. Hold on. What did I do? Okay. The baby got the tears in his eyes. So I done got sidetracked. God dang it. Oh, because my screen is trying to flip. Hold on. Technology, you will not outsmart me today. Cross that off. Okay, I done put a whole new screen up. All right, there we go. I'm going to be very intentional. There, now the baby got the tears in his eyes. That done distracted me. Let me read these comments after I stop moving myself. Work. I really love when you guys talk to each other in the comments. I'm going to listen this time. Been in and out of your live because I'm out with the family. Is there no way can we watch this live? Oh, boom. Hope you're still there. Lonnie Appleton live on YouTube. I am Lonnie. Well, that says knee. I am Lonnie Appleton live on YouTube. Your YouTube, whatever. I don't have time to delete it. I am Lonnie Appleton live on YouTube. The only about that is they post when they post. I post one every Wednesday, and now that I only go live Wednesdays intentionally, I may go live other days. You just got to catch me, but I'm guaranteed to be here every Wednesday. The only problem is I think I have my lives posted out to December. So this live probably won't post until December. But yes, my lives are all rewatchable on Lonnie Appleton Live. So enjoy your family, friend. I understand. Pat tells me all the time, girl, get off of this thing and go spend time with your family. Pat be on my head. So yes, enjoy your family. Enjoy your time. Yes, Queen Po is amazing. And she's on TikTok also. I love her content. Yes, she is dope. Someone sent her to me. She's actually who prompted my first full moon ritual that me and my daughters did. She was the one who prompted me into that. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. I'm with her because she do all the things. She do all the things. And I remember I got a bunch of crystals because I was into crystals, and I got all the dictionaries, but I need to find one thing, because when I got into those things, I was searching, right? I was grasping. I was like, ooh, the clairs, ooh, the crystals, ooh, the herbs, ooh. So everything was just coming at me so fast. Like, once you enter the spiritual arena, it's just like there's so many offerings. And you're just like, okay, of all the offerings, which is for me, I don't know. I'm interested in crystals, but I want to figure out root work. Like, and I can't seem to find, and again, like my ability, y'all saw I can't even use my goddamn computer without accidentally flipping up the screen. So, you know, my ability to search and find the training wheels to get into it and to get into herbalism and all those different things. But I want to get into root work. I just got to figure out how. Y'all think is the Queen Poe into root work? She might be sus. Hey, I love the apples. Yes, IG too. I'm not on IG like that, but yeah, she is truly amazing. Yeah, I don't really do IG. It's just dead over there for me. I got like 81 followers over there. Nobody engages with me except for the people who engage with me over here, engage with me over there. And so it's just like we're trading comments for the most part over there. So she's the real deal. She is. You are confirming that for me, that I'm going to go check out my sis. Yes, herbs, crystals, and there. I'm about to be a kid in a candy store. Y'all don't even know. I'm about to be out here like, I have to get my mind right, because I told you I will get into her content and I will just be like, ooh, 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 ooh. So I think that I'm going to focus on root work and that stuff. I'm going to focus on that, because if I chase crystals, I'm never going to absorb enough in order to not have to pull out my crystal Bible to figure something out. I'm never going to absorb enough. Like this stuff, I can sit and talk about this in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? I can derive meaning and purpose and all these different things in my sleep. I can dissect life backwards and forwards, but I want to perfect something else, because I think that's going to be a useful tool in our tool belt. Because y'all already know, once I learn something, I'm going to be telling y'all. But teaches from different spiritual aspects. Yes, whatever resonates, you will know what's for you. Okay, I'm gonna figure that out. All right, y'all. I mean, there's 7 of us here, so I feel like I need to find something to talk about. What we talking about? What y'all want to talk about? Give me a topic so we can talk. But in the meantime, let me get these people from staring at me on this here internet, because I keep looking at my computer and I got all these faces looking at me. Yes, pick up your copy of What's the Best That Can Happen. Healing, shadow work, paragraph by paragraph. Intentionally do the work. All the teaching from here tonight came from 3 paragraphs and a sentence. Urban fiction. Get your copy. Everything's available on LonnieTaylorArt.com. Get your merch. Support the community. I have finally decided I am finally okay with the idea of getting a job, y'all. It took me a while. But, you know, I had peace. I think, I don't know, because I've been sitting here and I've been thinking, and I was just like, you know, my husband has allowed me to, I know, right? My husband has given me peace, even though he is stressed the fuck out. But I was just like, nope, because in my peace, I'm able to develop the faith in order to move our family where our family needs to go. Today, they were talking, and I was just like, Andre Jr. sent a screenshot of his Uber ride, and he was going to go get something to eat. And I was like, ooh, food. I was like, I miss food. I can't wait. I was like, soon as this money gets right, I'm about to gain all this weight back, because I'm going to be eating up everything. And of course, Dre chimes in, good, I hope you get your ass back, because I miss it. We had such a lovely relationship. I was like, whatever. But, you know, I said, as soon as we get this money right. And so Andre Jr. said, girl, I said that yesterday. I'm saying, I miss food. This financial situation got me to where, like, I'm the mom that's like, no, it's okay, you can eat. You know, it's not that bad, but yes, you know, stop. And so, hold on, Kaden, I'm almost finished. And so anyway, Andre hopped in and he was like, "You need to contribute to the money." And I was like, "Look, y'all treat me like I'm a problem right now, but the work that I am doing today is going to yield major tomorrow. And I need all of y'all to show me the respect that I'm deserving, because right now y'all treat me like a problem. Y'all treat me like a problem because I'm over here building this network and building this community, and I'm not running to go get a job. Now I'm going to go get a job. Andre does this collection thing where he has this computer and he literally hits, the hell is that? Oh, my screen went black. He literally hits call 40 times a day. And because he's doing outbound calls, I don't know what kind of calls, but he does his calls. Nobody ever answers. So he's getting paid $17 an hour to just hit call whenever he feels like it. This could be doing his trading, he be getting haircuts, he be shooting the shit, all kinds of stuff, And all he has to hit is call. I was like, okay, I can do it. Now I just got to find my resume. I don't know where my resume is. I haven't had a job in so long. I'm going to have to put "I'm a homemaker" on my resume, y'all. Oh, I'm a homemaker. Are you trying to come on, Pat? Because, let me see, girl, I said that yesterday. I'm tired of cooking involuntarily. Y'all, Bailey cooks, and every once in a while she threatens that she doesn't want to cook anymore. And I'm like, but Bailey, how am I going to eat? Okay, here we go. Oh, hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Guess. Sis, you are not alone. This is my life. I had to let them know I am her. Please don't underestimate me. I'm telling you, I am.
Yeah, that's great.
And the day that y'all wake up to who the fuck I am, and it's fine because it took me 41 years to figure out who I am. So it can take y'all some time too. But the moment y'all wake up to who the fuck I am, you better give me my motherfucking props.
I know
Period.
that's right. They're gonna be quiet, girl. They're
Ah, they gonna shut the fuck up. I'm just
gonna
saying.
be
I'm sitting there
quiet,
like,
girl. Huh?
any type of apologies? Any apologies?
Huh? Like that's my
Just because
wife.
y'all didn't see the
That's my
vision.
wife. That's my mama up there.
Yes, please and
You
thank
know
you.
it.
How are you, sis?
I am doing better. I'm doing better.
I know
So I
you
had to
said you jumping around with 40-pound weights. You done lost your damn mind.
girl, I thought I was She-Hulk. It felt good when I was doing it. And then that thing showed itself the next day. I said, "Ho, I can't walk." I said, "It don't feel the same." So
Mm-hmm.
he said I strained something. So I'm like, yeah, I haven't felt this since like high school. Nah, I don't like
Yeah.
this. But no,
Yeah.
I'm better now. I had
Good.
to sit my butt down,
Mm-hmm.
start stretching, and just listen to my body.
Yep. Throw
Cause like
some
you said,
yoga in
I'm no spring chicken,
there.
like you said.
Neither am I. So what's going on, sis?
Not much. You were talking about many different things, but what really hit home was honestly the switching from religion to spirituality and finding your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's why I wanted to come on because you were asking like how do you get into it and is whatever resonates with you. Um, look in your cabinet, you may have some herbs in there and just start looking them up and what their healing properties are. Like even oregano has healing properties. Um, different oils and things like that. That's why I always tell you, like I'm into oils and I'm into herbs and everything because I make my butters, my butter, girl. And you know what? It's crazy. Spirit is serious. I have not been able to invest in my oils. Got
Mm-hmm.
some money and something came out of my account. I said, "What is this?" I got a confirmation that my order was on the way and it was my shea butter. I said, "See, you know what? Okay, it's my kick in the butt. I'll listen. I'll get back to doing what I'm supposed to do." But that was sidebar. But yeah, you don't have to have your book out and all that. You don't have to look up every crystal. You don't have to know everything. I don't know everything. It's honestly, I'm learning as I go. I'm open to just the process. I'm open to building and adding on to who I am and um just learning. Just it's just learning. And the cool thing about Queen Poe, like you said, got the background of Christianity. She was raised in African traditional religion. I don't even know if I should call it religion, but they call it ATR. But she does have experience with Christianity, so that's what made me kind of navigate towards her because of
Mm-hmm.
my background. She didn't make it seem like she was condemning. She wasn't biased. She was very understanding, but also stuck to her guns on what she knew and what she had to offer. So it's kind of like how how you said we're all in here together. We kind of have the same kind of vibe. It was kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the same thing. I resonated with her and how she was delivering things because that's just what I like. Just keep it real. Give me the meat. Let me take what I need, and then we going about our business. But I do want to get to the book though,
Yes.
because I'm on chapter 8 now. My defiant behind put my book down, and I kept looking at it on the table, looking at me. So I will be picking it back up.
He's
But
like, Patricia.
girl, that cover is looking and just shining in the middle of my dining room table. Like, look, pick me up, pick me back up, and I will. But like I said on your video, it reminded me to do more than sit and think. And
Mm,
I honestly have been stuck in thinking and going over and over in my head about the problems and not remembering where how far I've come. And when I was reading the first few chapters, it was like as if you were in my head and we were walking along and we both going through this recap of life. And it was
mm,
just like I've been here. I've been there. Pat, you've been there. Okay. Let's get back here. Let's come on, fast forward to now and let's do something instead of just sitting mulling. So I do love the fact that you have the introduction to write in the margins. You give the space to write notes in there and it's more of an interactive thing than just telling somebody what to do.
yes.
And I love the fact that it's a testimonial. It's not just preaching. And although you did want to go that route, um, I
Oh, yeah.
think we all have a taste of what we thought we were going to be. It just gets switched into what it's supposed to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
I
just
know
feel
that's
the
right.
spaces to write and take your notes.
Yes. So I'm gonna pull out the pen. Like I said, my kids were crying. They've been doing the clingy thing lately. So I know
Mm,
that's also a test of mommy wants attention on her thing. So let me pull her away.
yep. Soon
Yes,
as you could
the
be sitting
power
there
struggle.
minding your motherfucking business, and soon as you get some business, they be like, Mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I'm going through. So baby girl fell asleep. That's the only reason why I'm on here. I'm like, thank God. But baby boy, who's always knocked out first, is hopping around on the bed. So I appreciate him being quiet. But
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing that you are able to be transparent. I haven't even got into the meat and potatoes of everything. I'm only in the beginning. I know it's gonna get real serious, but I just want to thank you because, like you said, there's something about you and your journey and you being transparent and you listening to your call to tell your story that honestly does help others tell their story. And like I've told you, I do have that pull and that nudge. It's just the how and the when is my thing. And
Mm-hmm.
because so many people who would be affected by my story that I'm just like, let me baby step this. And
Yeah.
also because marriage is at play.
Yeah. You don't want to jeopardize your life while trying to help others, and you don't want to just be another trauma bond experience, you know?
Oh no, not at all. And that's one thing that I've it's wild and I just want to be honest. I look
Yeah.
at you as I wish you could be my neighbor because I'll be at your door like, come on, girl, let's sit outside and let's chat it up. But
Yeah.
like when you give the call to do the one-on-ones, I would love to. But what I've been checking myself on is that trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being as old as I am now and coming as far as I've come, it's a matter of being responsible for what I put out there. I'm responsible for because manifestation, a part of it is what you speak is what will happen. So instead of me just going over about the problems, let me create some solutions. And if I can't create some solutions out of this, I'm not dumping this on somebody else's ears, because what is that going to do for them? And then married couple to married couple, um I would not want to affect somebody else's bliss with my problems unless it was invited that we could sit down and talk. You know what I mean? And then
Yes.
even in that case, I would love for it to be me and my husband versus just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's my hesitation. Um, I have been checking myself on the trauma bonding, because you don't want it after a while. It's tiresome. And it's, what do you have after you talk about the problems? Nothing. And it fades. And I ain't
Yeah.
for that no more.
Yeah, the release isn't what it used to be, like just the vent or just to get it off. It's not
Hmm.
there anymore. It's just like, okay, that didn't feed me anymore. Like,
Yeah. It's like it's still
I'm
there. That
yeah,
elephant's still there.
it's still there, and it's like I find comfort in knowing I'm not alone. So that's why I talk about. That's why somebody was watching a video the other day, and they were like, "It's we're entering or we're in the silent depression, which means we're in
Mm.
a economical depression, but no one's talking about it." And I was like, well, maybe that's why God instructed me to talk about our financial situation, so that people don't know that they're, or people don't think that they're alone. We are all going through it. Like, a lot of us are going through so many things. My husband's a barber, and you're in the industry, so you understand. It's just like, he's like,
Hmm.
I don't know where my clients are. I don't know what the hell is happening. And I was just like, babe, you're not the only one going through it. And when it's time to cut out a service, you're just going to be one of the first ones to go. And
Well,
so,
I would say, and I ain't mean to cut you off.
no,
Um,
no, you're fine.
but
Well,
just
no,
because,
just what I was telling him. He was just like, because he's like, what have I done? I was like, you haven't done anything. People
mm-mm,
had to evaluate their finances. And am I going to buy food, or am I going to go get a haircut? And most people are going to choose food over a haircut, you
that
know?
ain't right.
And so, and so, you know, I forgot my point. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to cut you off. Um, what I was going to say, especially about us being in this industry, it really shows you who's who in your corner, because being behind that chair, you in a box, kinda, and it cuts you off from the real world and reality, because sometimes you get caught up in the turnover, and if your rate is high, it's like you tend to not connect like you used to when it was slower. So when it does get slow, you see your faithfuls, you see your people
Mm-hmm.
who care. You got the people who asking how you doing. You got the people who tipping you an extra 10, 20, $30. You got people, I've had people, I'm telling you, this has been such a test to me, because in this past month, it has gotten so rough that I have had people who have inquired about getting their hair done, don't need an appointment for 2 weeks to a month, and they pay me right then when they ask me. Like,
Mm.
you know how much that has saved my family?
Yeah.
And
Yes, I do.
girl, so it's like you see exactly who's who, and I think this is that time where it's not even about the industry we're in, it's about the people we are to the people we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think this time, honestly, for the spiritual people, is a test for us to come together. Like, are we just going to get caught up in the tool, the money, or are
Mm-hmm.
we going to actually see the connection? Are we going to see the bartering of gifts?
Our value to each other, not
Yes.
this value.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
value. Mm-hmm.
Like, I went to, like you said about the job, I went and applied. I went to, we got a store called Didi's. I don't know if y'all have it, but it's like a Ross chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, went to the store and I'm doing what I do. I've been in retail since I was 14. So I haven't been in it for many years, but every time I go, when you work in a service industry, you tend to do things as if you're still working there. So if I see a hanger on the floor, I pick it up, I put it back. If I see a shirt hanging off you put it back. So yeah, it's like, so I'm going from aisle to aisle. I'm picking out an outfit for my son for picture day. And I didn't realize they're watching me. So when I went to check out, it was just like, you know what? Are y'all hiring? And dude was just like, yeah, scan the QR code, da da. Da. And he was like, you know, the manager's outside. And I'm just like, oh, which one? Tells me. I go outside, introduce myself, let him know a little bit about me. He lets me know about him, how long he's been in the industry. And then it was just like, you know what? Go ahead and apply. I applied that night. He called the next day. We're not even going to do an interview because we did the interview yesterday. So I'm going to send you these links and you go ahead, da 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 da. And I'm just like, what? What? So it's kind of like, wow, like that wouldn't have happened years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have listened to Spirit tell me do that. And especially just like months ago, I would have been so in my head, like, no, you got a business. You're not going to do this job. So it's like, it's a true test. It's a test,
We are
but
definitely,
it's going to be all right.
it is. I have looked at this space and I encourage everyone who is going through this season, because we are all going through a season, regardless of how it is manifesting in your life. We are all going through a season because God is pressing us and churning us and calling us to our highest potential if we're paying attention. So,
Absolutely.
whatever it is you're going through, excuse me, please derive as much meaning. Please get as close to your higher self as possible. Like I said, name your soul, get connected to your divinity, and everything that you're experiencing, your triggers, is for a reason. It's You're being called to this particular point for a reason. Pay attention. Like I said, when my husband said he's been humbled, I was like, thank you. Thank you for learning something from this season besides,
Mhm.
I'm too old for this shit, you know? Oh, Danny Glover looking ass.
You're crazy. That's the first level. That's that first level. It's that kick in the butt, and then the
Yes.
spirituality comes after that. But
Yeah, so I'm so happy for him, and I'm really just, I had to come to a place where, and something that I learned, and I talk about it in the book, but whenever I need to do something, it happens. Like you went to go shopping for clothes and you ended up with the job. You could have applied for that exact same job 2 months prior and you still would have got it when you got it, because you were supposed to get it when you got it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so I know that all the time that everybody's like, you need to get a job, you need to get a job, you need to get a job. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm supposed to be getting a job. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be getting a job. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And yes, the sky is falling, but my spirit doesn't say I need to get a job. But every time in my life that I said, okay, time to get a job, I've had a job in a week.
yeah, it's that
So
calling. I
yeah,
think it's alignment. I don't think if you're not doing if you're doing anything too premature, it's like it hasn't had enough time to do what it does. Like give you what you're supposed to receive. Like if do you know how many applications I put in one night? And all those jobs are turning me down in my
yeah,
emails. And I'm just like, you know, okay, I wasn't supposed to do it then when I was doing that. But
no,
just to simply, I would not have gone to that store had it not been for his picture day. Like I wouldn't have gone out, and it was last minute. Like, where can I go to hurry up and grab this boy something?
yeah,
No soda. You can get some water. Oh, sure. I know you want soda. No soda.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, puppy dog guys.
I fully understand, because it's just like we send ourselves through all this stress and all these things. And this is if you're walking in your divinity. If you're not walking in your
Go
divinity, you
outside.
don't get what you get from life. I'm gonna just keep it G. But if
It's
you're
true.
walking in your divinity, then know that you sit here stressing, and I know things look bad. Things are bad. Things are going crazy. And in the physical world, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be doing these things, but if divinity is not telling you to do it, I don't care what your circumstances are, the doors will not open until they are. So instead of stressing in the space that you're in, and application, because that's what a responsible person does, you're not going to get the job until divinity opens the door, period.
Right.
So you can sit and stress and be down on yourself and think that you're a failure, and all the lies that we tell ourselves when things that aren't for us. Like, yo, when things are up, we appreciate closed doors. But when things are down, somehow a closed door says something about us. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? No, a closed door, if you are moving in your divinity, a closed door is just saying, this ain't it. This ain't for you. If you were walking in your divinity, you were walking in your truth, thankful for those closed doors because you will be in a miserable position. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? It,
Absolutely.
and life will allow you to force a situation. You can. That's our free will. We can force the situation, but that situation is going to be so miserable and it's going to squeeze you so tight that the relief that you thought you was going to get from getting it, ain't no relief. Why? Because you're not supposed to be there.
But you know what? The spirit that I was doing it in was chasing the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the amount that was being paid for the positions and not remembering the stress that came with the position that I used to have
Yeah.
and how unhappy I was sitting at that computer screen and I can't move. Like that kind of thing. The amount of pressure that's placed on certain higher positions is like I've been in the office, I've been in retail. And when I told my husband about what happened and I started talking about how that's a full body workout, that's check box one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be happy because I love working on the floor. I used to do the windows, dress the mannequins, and dress the walls. So my thing was a Friday, Saturday, you coming in there and you want to go out? Oh, let me go shopping with you. Let me pick out your outfit. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was my thing. So it was kind of like, okay, you're getting back to your spirit now. You're getting back to what you love now. You're tapping back into who you were before the world told you who you're supposed to be. And
Mm.
that's all I've been trying to get back to is before all the trauma, before all the expectations, before everybody was trying to tell me what you're supposed to do in life, who was Pat? What made Pat happy? Digging
Yeah.
in these boxes, pulling out these clothes, putting them on these plastic mannequins, and just being me. That's it. But even if it's not just that, honestly, when you're chasing the wrong things, at a certain point, God got a way of telling you, nah, I got more for you. That's not what I want you to chase after. Let's not make this detour. Let's keep straight. Stop being distracted.
Exactly. And learn these lessons in the meantime. I'm trying to
Damn,
teach you something. If you don't learn it now, guess what? You're going to learn it the next time.
I don't want another 10 years going around this mulberry bush. I really
I
don't.
don't.
I don't.
I'm so sick
Um,
of it, girl. This is the fourth time I have lost everything in my life. And I'm like, God, I'm paying attention. Finally, I'm paying attention. Do not.
but
But I
you know
also,
when you lose, though, it's
mhm.
a chance to rebuild it better.
Yes, that's what I was talking to my daughter about. I was just like, you know what? What I have noticed in life, like when I got with Dre, it was like steps, right? So, you know how typical people, they slowly get together, and they build. But up until the Dre experience, it has been, and I was like, I hate that. But I was just like, you know what? In the spirit of change, I was like, it's because the who I want to become is so drastic from the who that I am,
Hmm.
that life in the manifestation realm, because I am a powerful manifester. I'm learning how to actively manifest, but I am a powerful manifester. And so every shift in my life, the four times that I've lost everything, it is because something in my head has clicked and said, I don't want this anymore. Now I want to experience this. And
Yeah,
because I don't want to experience this anymore, my life has been like, and then so it's a free fall because my next is so extreme that all of this has to go away in order
yeah,
to bring my next. You know what I'm saying? And so
absolutely.
my 18-year-old who is sitting here and she's just like, I want to go into the Navy or Air Force. Yeah, I want to go into the Air Force. No, I'm going to go to college. No, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do that. I was like, you're just trying to replace high school because your focus was just to get out of high school. You never had a goal, a
Hmm.
manifestation point after high school. And so now that you've achieved that goal, you've manifested that reality, and we don't even realize we're manifesting because we're matriculating through grade to grade to grade. So we're thinking that that is just what's happening. Everybody doesn't graduate high school. But
Yeah,
those of us who are focused on that, that is one of our first manifestations, and we take it for granted. And so now that you have graduated high school, what are you going to create next? And so because she hasn't found her next creativity point, she feels stuck. And I was like,
Mm.
all you're doing is you're just trying to find a way to unstick yourself, but you have to find what you want to create next, because whatever you decide on, you will create it. And
Absolutely.
so the moment I stopped giving energy to this present life that I'm living right now, Pat, and I said, I want the acres. I want
Mm.
the compound. I want my family to all live on the same land. I this is what I want. I want the farm, and I want the this life right now, just like
It's
this
temporary.
bitch exploded.
But let me tell you, that's the same thing that we've been speaking about.
Mhm.
And it's like been from the beginning of our relationship, been married 12 years. Beginning of our relationship, I've stuck to my guns that I want a homestead. Like I'm city girl, but born from a country woman. So even being in the city, she raised us country as all hell. So it's like I understand like tilling the land and growing something from a seedling. Like it's different. I'm talking to him about like let's get some chicks. Like shit, people got cats and dogs. We can have a pet chicken. Like let's do what we gotta
You
do.
with chickens before
But
in the city?
girl, I can't have that in the city. But it's a dream. But the whole thing is everything has been even through the bad, everything has been redirecting our lives into us getting to that next step, that next phase. It has to be dismantled. And I used to be so hell bent on it's wild because as an artist, every place that we've had, I have done a mural on the walls. We have lost each of those places. And I got to a point to where I'm not going to paint on nobody else's wall because I can't take it with me until I own my own. And I had to realize what I was doing was I was trying to stake claim on something that was temporary and I
Mm.
could never see it wasn't mine. It wasn't supposed to be forever. This was just a stepping stone. So now at this point, it's like, you know what? I keep getting this urge. Like I was cleaning out the closets today. I've been cleaning out the closets for like the past week, but I keep getting this feeling of I want to pack. I want to pack up. I want to pack up. And it's like I already know that next step is coming. I don't know. We have an idea of when, which is when this lease is up this year. Um, but I still have that preparation feeling within me.
Mhm.
So I want to be in that flow of it happening and not try and force it to not happen. I don't want to be stutter stepping behind. I don't want it to be ripped from me. Like we've done that. We've lost a lot. Girl, the story is serious. But at this point now, it's kind of like going with the flow. And now I realize there's just some stuff you got to let go in order to free up space for new.
You got to
Yes.
release that weight to rise.
Yes, indeed.
Were you saying that yesterday? My husband, he is inspired to hang my art on the walls. So yesterday, my husband
Beautiful.
started hanging my art on the wall, and the moment he started doing that, I was like, "We're about to get evicted."
Don't say that.
No,
Don't
because
say that.
no, because when he started doing that, I was just like you said, staking a claim on something that's not yours, putting your murals on the wall. When he started making this place a home, I was like, yeah, that eviction notice is coming. Because every month, I've sent the text message, we're going to be late on our rent, we're going to be late on our rent. And somehow, hubby pulls it together this month. I'm just like, you know. But, you know, uh, right now we are riding on the strength that our landlord knows in order to kick us out and revamp this place, then it's more money than just waiting a couple days for your rent.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but once he wakes up to the fact I'm tired of dealing with this, he's going to kick us out, and we're not under lease. Last year he didn't renew our lease. It was in December, and the management company sent us the lease, but at the same time we had a water leak. Every time that it's just like, all right, this is getting really real, something happens in this house to
Mhm.
where it's just like it'll make him feel bad to kick us out. So when it was time to renew the lease, and he was probably pissed off about the fact that he feels I took too long to tell him about the water leak, which once they got the wall open, there was like this much mold in there. So
Mm.
even though the insurance company thought that it was too extreme, once they opened the wall up, there was that much mold in there. So it was just like I can't kick them out because they're living with black mold. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And so, then the washing machine breaks, and then the air conditioning breaks, and all these different things are happening. I was like, this ain't nothing but God keeping us with a roof over our head. I
absolutely.
Because that man don't want us in his house. Like he don't have kids, so he don't know what it is to rent with people with children.
Yeah. Well, I tell
And
you, we were
my
there. I'm sorry.
oh
No, I
no,
was
I'm
gonna
fine.
say that we were there because like I've told you we were separated for 5 years.
Hmm.
So out of that 5 years, I had me and my two sons in the apartment first, and then we created our two younger children. But luckily, we were only in there for like about 5 months before we moved into this home with the baby girl. So that place was so horrible that she did move us from one apartment upstairs to the next. The problem was the black mold. That was honestly killing us slowly.
Yeah,
So she, although she wanted to put us out, it was kind of like, you know what, I need y'all because the way I was making money, I'm working from home. You could easily knock on my door and receive payment. So that was my biggest benefit was whenever you feel low on cash, all you gotta do is come knock on my door and I got payment for you. So you're not putting me out really. But it was
stop.
also
Sorry, it's my kids. Yeah, I'll
no,
give
you're
it to you.
fine, honey.
I'm
I know
listening.
when to pause.
No, I'm
But
listening. Go ahead.
it was also that the universe was allowing us a little more time to be where we were because there was no way that I could foot the bill on my own to get us out. And it also brought an awakening to both of us that we actually do need each other instead of fighting each other to save our families' lives. Um, because it's not just about me and him, but it's about these children to save their lives because our youngest son had to get a tonsillectomy and a partial adenectomy, however you say that, his adenoids partially removed. He had to go under surgery. Like it was such an awakening that it's like for all parties, including the landlord, it's like, you know what, let's hold off on all this and give y'all time.
Yeah,
So it all works out for you. And I wouldn't even speak that it's going to be an eviction notice. You never know when it's just going to be that place that's meant for y'all that's just on the other side of all this.
yeah,
Like, and that's what happened here. Like, we didn't see this coming. He got turned down for the house that he wanted. And the guy was like, you know what, you qualify for a certain amount. How about you go and look at these two houses? The other house, they turned us down for because it had a fireplace. We got kids. They didn't want the place burned down. So I came to this one. It was just like, you know what? It was two other guys in here. And I'm like, you know what? We going to take this. Because with the market right now, I'm not passing up on this house. I'm not going back to that apartment.
yeah,
So it hasn't been spectacular. We do have some issues here, but it's what we needed.
yeah,
So what you need is going to be, and sometimes you know what, honey, you are an artist, so you're a creator, and that is the essence of God. I don't even want to say himself or herself, but that is the creator itself.
mm,
Um, so imagine when your art is placed on the wall and your husband is doing so, that is his way of manifesting for the two of you and for your generations to come that this is the vision. I see the vision along with her. So let me put this up so I make it real. And so that in itself, that's some old talk about some manifestation magic. That's beautiful. So
I,
whatever is to come. Girl, speak some life on that. We ain't gonna talk no eviction. They ain't kick you out.
I don't care. Like, I'm not coming from a place of, oh Lord, where are we gonna go?
I don't
I was
know. I
like,
don't think so.
no, no, I receive exactly what you do, and I love how you always help me, and all of you guys within the community. You always help me shift my perspective into something else. But it was just I don't know. It's just the energy of it. I was just like, he's making something permanent in such unstable circumstances that I'm just like, I don't know. I received that as a sign, but I like your thinking better. So let's go there with it. Because he's also been nesting. He's been nesting, so I know change is coming. I know change is coming. I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. I'm not any of those things. And if it happens, it happens. We're on to the next. I just
Yeah.
know, like you said, we got these kids. Like it's not. I'm just praying that it's not in all of our trajectory to be homeless. You know what I'm saying?
I
I don't
don't think
believe that
so.
it is.
I
I don't
don't think
believe
so.
that it is.
And I'm gonna come
But
together with you and say I don't think so at all.
yeah, I don't think so. And so I'm relying on the fact that I just like, okay, God, I know that God's plan isn't for us to be, living in hotels or something like that. So if it is, then it is. It is. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
is what it is. But I don't think that it is. Not for
Mm-mm.
all eight of us. you know?
No, no. And it's not by chance. I don't believe in coincidences. So it's not by chance that your children are coming to you. They are migrating back to you. And you know there's power in numbers. And when two or more are gathered together, you already know there's power in that. So y'all
Yes.
manifestation magic is going to be multiplied because now you have not only you two, but you have the young adults, which is power in that. Then also you have the babies, which their imagination is magic in itself. So if you utilize all that together, you know what is the word? What is the word? What is the word? What draws me to you and your channel is the fact that your family involvement, because we are so tight knit with ours. It's beautiful to see another young black family that is trying their best to stay positive in this day and age and keep it trucking, keep it pushing, keep it moving. And
Yes.
being a creative is also one thing. And then it's crazy that your husband's in the industry that I'm in. So it's just like the empathy is there, and it's like, you know what? The fact that you feel like in your lineage you come from the people that you come from, I feel the same way. There's a magic that's inside of you. All you got to do is just set your mind and your intention to that, what you already did, you're already doing. It's going to be good. Like,
Yes.
no matter how tough it is, it's still good because you're learning. The kids are learning. You have young adults with you. I don't think they're going to let y'all drown. You know what I mean?
Nah, Junior sent Dre the 700 he was short on the rent yesterday. And it's just like when we were having that family meeting, I was just like, Dre, all right, so we had another family meeting before our new, since Junior is here, he introduced and we all agreed we're going to have family meetings every other day. It was beautifully spoken. We're going to have family
Yeah.
meetings every other day where we just come together, download, share a point of interest because our goal is to start talking, start communicating, building bonds, and getting to know each other's
Yeah.
interests. And so I opened the door and I know Dre probably felt attacked, but I was like, I wasn't attacking him. I was like, you need to open your mouth and tell people who can help you. You could talk to me all day, but I ain't got no income coming in right now. So you need to talk to Bailey and you need to talk to Andre and let them know what's going on. And they can choose to either abandon ship or they can choose to help the ships keep floating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in the conversation, Andre Jr. was like, okay, so how much are you short? And I was like, or Dre said, blah, blah, blah. And in the middle of the meeting, Dre sent him $700. And he was like, you should be able to, get the internet money, right? You should be able to get the water bill money, right? The rent's taken care of. I was like, see, open your fucking mouth. We cannot be so prideful that we can't look to our resources because Dre was on the phone with his cousin. And I'm going to get back to the Bailey point because it's important. But Dre was on the phone with his cousin talking about how he's been Ubering and lifting because his Jeep, he was renting it through Toro, but it got caught up in a trafficking with
Yeah.
the humans type of situation. Somebody rented it and got caught. And
Mm.
so he hasn't had his Jeep for like since the end of August. So he's been Ubering and lifting to and from work, which is like $25 each way. I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's why you ain't got no damn rent because you've been Ubering
Yeah.
and lifting. And so he's on the phone with his cousin who he has allowed to sleep on his couch multiple times throughout his life until his cousin became stable. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so he's on the phone with his cousin, and his cousin's just like, well, we got an extra car. And then
Hmm.
soon as he said that, sis, listen, soon as he said that, the call dropped.
Hmm.
And I was just like,
Girl, I'm
okay.
cheesy. Go ahead.
Girl, but no, I'm sitting here and I'm gonna mind my business because I'm no longer castrating my husband, i.e., well, you need to do this. I'm just like, nope, he gonna do it on his own. He gonna do what
Hmm.
he need to do. But several weeks later, now we don't have the rent, and you ain't called your cousin back and took him up on that car offer. So yesterday I was just like, look, call your cousin don't be so prideful
Mhm.
that you keep throwing hundreds of dollars away on Ubers and Lyfts when there's a car right there.
Yeah.
Like, the cousin didn't call him back, Dre didn't call the cousin back, and I'm sitting here watching him like, and so the Bailey point that I wanted to make, we were having a family meeting, and Bailey, our 18-year-old, was just, I was telling her how, I'm completely removed from the finances. And I know people are like, oh, that's so stupid. I mean, that's what I taught Bailey. And I would tell Bailey she's stupid if she allowed somebody to completely have financial control over her life. But, I trust my husband. My husband has literally given me his money as soon as he's gotten home. When we were just friends on the phone talking, he would come home and tell me how much he made that day, and we would, track his money because he told me how much money he was making. I was like, ain't no way you making that much money doing hair. He was like, I am.
Don't be
And so
surprised. I miss them days. God, I miss them days.
girl, that's why when I'm sitting here, I was like, I'm crying, but I ain't really crying because once
Yeah.
you know what's possible, you know what's possible.
They're all
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So this is just a season. But, he has
Absolutely.
always been transparent about money with me. And so the tide has changed, and spiritually I know that I have been removed from the finances, because in being removed from the finances and not looking at the $1,000 bill and the $500 in the bank account, now I'm able to have the peace in order to build the faith in order to take us to where we need to go.
Mhm.
And so I know that that's why I've been removed from the finances. But Bailey was just like, man, that's stupid to not know nothing about what's going on. Why are you just letting them handle the finances like that? That's stupid. I was like, I agree, but I'm done castrating my husband. Who's to say that my way is the only way? If he's never had to figure out financial responsibility and how to figure out how to do the things he's doing, or he's finally in a place where he can make some moves and he's making the moves on his own, who am I to poke my head in and be like, now what you doing?
Yeah.
Now you do it this way. So if he fumbles and he stumbles on the way of figuring it out, and I know we tell ourselves, if I love you, I'm going to tell you how to do it. No, I love you and I want you to learn how to do it your way, because
Mhm.
who's to say my way is the only way? And so during this, he's been figuring it out. And I was just like, okay. So I finally spoke up yesterday. I was like, look, you need to open your mouth. You got a resource right there. You got a resource right there. And you got a fucking car right there. Open your mouth. And so today he texts the group chat. I'm about to get your cousin's car. Oh, are you? Oh, such a
I
bright
know that's
idea.
right. You're so
Such a
brilliant.
bright
Oh my
idea.
God. Yeah, that wife card is crazy.
Yes.
You
So,
gave him an idea, he gotta act like it was his. It's okay.
yes, and it's fine, but I haven't been trying to step on his toes, and I've just been sitting back and watching. But I was like, okay, you need to tell the people that can help you to help you before the internet gets cut off, and everybody needs internet to do their job. You
Yeah.
know, so
Everybody
just
got their lesson. Everybody has their
say what?
lesson. I said everybody has their lessons. Like we're in a similar boat as far as I used to be the one who made more money. In the beginning, he had a job and I didn't. When we first met, but then once I secured, I went back to a company I was with before we met, and I had a higher position and higher pay. I made more than him, so he was used to me in one check I could pay the rent. Um, we weren't on one accord at that time, so because of our relationship not being we're not seeing eye to eye on how things should be done as far as what when money should go to the important things and what can wait. um, we weren't handling it right. So now that I've been on top making a lot of money during our separation, come back together, it's like boom, my finances take a hit. And he has the good job making more money. It's his career, honestly. Um, he's progressing and making more. It's kind of like, okay, now I'm going to show you that I've learned my lesson and that I'm going to do right this time. Anybody in my life would be like, girl, you crazy. Because you know what
Mm-hmm.
happened the first time. But now it's just like, you know what? He's a man and I have sons. So if I don't allow him to be a man, I can't allow my sons to be men when it's their time. And I can teach my sons but so much. But if their example is right in front of him, right in front of them, being denied his masculinity and his position, yeah, exactly. That castration. Like what am I to expect of my sons? And I'm trying to raise them to be manly men and fathers and husbands and da da. But yeah, you can't pay a bill like on your own without someone telling you to. So it's been a true like sit your butt down moment. Like, and even in the times where it's like, you know what, I used to be able to set up my book to where the way my book used to work when it was at its height, I had my regulars who I knew were going to come, but I always knew that by Tuesday, my whole weekend would be filled up by Wednesday, and I would have to tell people, "Oh, I gotta squeeze you into next week because this week is full." It
Yep.
was like that. I had 10 people a day. I was bringing home more than 1,000 in a day, and it's like I went from that to, "Girl, you think you can come tomorrow?" Because I gotta feed these kids. Yeah, ain't no rent getting paid off of mom now. Like, mom can't foot no bills right now. I can feed us. I can do that. But
Yeah.
it's a true test. But that is one of the beautiful things about this time. It it makes you grow up,
Mm-hmm.
especially when survival is at play. Especially when you tell someone you love them, you gotta show it now because it's damn
And
near apocalyptic times. Like we at the verge. If they set off some zombies out here on us, then look, we in this together because we already ain't got that much to deal with to handle. But it's gonna be all right though.
the
It's foreign to
backdrop.
some. We're raised to be, I think, because the matriarchy wants us to be very, very strong. At this point, it's kind of like our strength can be in meekness. Our strength can be in falling back. Our strength can be in having proper relationships and a give and take, and it not being I rule this house, which is how we were raised because 80s and 90s handed us a certain deck of cards.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know what? Do I really want my kids taking on my trauma, how I had to be raised, or do I want
Yeah.
to give them a different view of life? Like
Yeah.
I want them to look up to their dad.
I just can't believe men are as useless as they are. And that's not me being a man hater. I just can't. I was talking to somebody, I was like, is this nature versus nurture? I am raising my men, not my men, I'm raising my sons, and me and my husband, we are
Hmm.
raising our sons to be everything. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
already raised our daughters to be everything.
yeah,
But there's a failure somewhere. And look, these are my first boys that I'm raising, so I don't know. This is all experimental. But I was
yeah,
like, I even my husband in his perfection, because he's everything to me, and that's all that matters. He
yeah,
still has the typical man failures. And I'm just like, is this nature or is this nurture? Because we as a whole have not fed into our men the way that we feed into our women, and we have received, like, even when you look at TV dads, they're useless. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah.
thinker is the mom. And I was like, I don't even know how same-sex relationships survive.
Who's no
And so
role?
it's just like, okay, I don't think this is real. I really think that we can raise sons to where they can run with it and do it and everything, and a woman is just adding on to their powerhouse. Not a woman is coming to save the day. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. The way that I raise my boys, and this is no matter how me and him were doing, just because of like when I was coming up, I'm the youngest of five, and my mother and father had one son who was the oldest, who wasn't my father's son. So that relationship was strained as far as him being an active brother in our lives, a protector and all that. It was a clear disconnect because it's just like, okay, that's not my dad. He treats me different, so I'm gonna treat y'all different because we don't have the same
Mm-hmm.
dad. So it was four girls, one boy. My nephews came along. So this little girl was washing the car, mowing the lawn, taking the trash out, doing all the bullshit. It's just like, Mom, can you have them do something? Oh no, Pat, I can't depend on them. What you mean? What you mean? So now it's like, okay, having that experience, I'm like, nah, we can't do that. Get out there, use the muscles. You don't think you're strong enough? Oh, let me show you how to lift this. So it's just the proper training up.
Yeah.
And I think when you say nature versus nurture, I honestly think it's a lack of nurture. We don't give them enough credit to be able to do because we're so used to taking on everything. It's like you're not going to do it right. But no, how about you show them how to and then let them show you if they're going to fail or succeed. And if they start to fail, then you just go ahead and give them a little more. So I always tell my sons, I tell any guys who sit in my chair, especially if they're younger, or even if they're seeking and they have not come across that one, or if they got a girlfriend, they haven't yet hit marriage, you got to have a foundation first. Um, get your education, have your career, save your money, keep your credit up, establish yourself, set your foundation, get your own place. Don't move in with her. Have your own so that she can either move in with you or y'all gonna go in it together on something different. So I always lay out that plan of a foundation because that's my expectations for my sons. Because what I will not have is a girl coming to me talking about, oh, your son is living off of me, or your son did this, or your son can't do that. And it's like, nah, that's not how they were raised. But like you said, I believe that we are to be an adornment for a man. We're not supposed to be, we not, I can't even say we're not supposed to because we both have strengths and there's no real roles type things. But I think because we're a helpmate and we are a gift to a man and whoever finds a wife finds a good thing type deal, he finds a wife. So he has to have something for her to come to. He got to have something for her to help. Um, and one thing that my pastor told us when we were in marital counseling is beware of a man who doesn't have a purpose.
Mm.
And it didn't really hit until we were like 5 years into our marriage, and it was just like, where are we going? Because we talked about a certain direction, and this ain't the direction that you said we was going in. And I had
Yeah.
to realize that what has to be set in stone is what are you going to be in life? And my sons, my biological, they're only 12 and 10. My 10-year-old, he knows what he wants to be. My 10-year-old knows. My 12-year-old, he doesn't. He's not clear. But my conversation is always out of nowhere. What do you want to do? What do
Mm-hmm.
you want to be in life? And then my job is to try and give them everything that they could possibly get to help build that. And if I don't, then I'm failing.
Yes.
So it's a lack of nurture. And even when they become men, our men, we're not their moms, but yet we pick up where their mothers left off and where their mothers may have failed or just not seeing the value in it. We are to see the light within them and dust it off a little bit. And then them for us too, because there are areas where we don't shine as bright as we could. So if it's a mutual exchange, then we grow together. But I can keep going on a tangent. I won't.
Oh no, and I 100% agree, and that's I was just thinking from my teaching points earlier. That's what it means when you see the potential in someone. It's not you take someone who has no goals, no ambition, none of that stuff. But he cute, he's good, so he got potential. No, you see someone who just needs that that dusting off. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Just needs that. I see where you headed. Like my husband right now. I see. I believe that he is an older soul than I am. I believe that he's a more powerful being than I am. And that's not me versus him. It's just that I see your fucking
hmm,
potential. I was just like, I just need you to wake up to your potential because the day that he does, it's just his mind is going to be blown. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
so that's the potential we need to be looking into people. I saw his potential when he was raised to believe he was gonna be nothing. Yeah, so you see when someone is
My
raised to
husband,
be nothing and they make something. They make something. It don't matter what the hell they make. If they make something, that means then they can make something. You
absolutely.
know?
You know a
And so
beautiful moment. I'm sorry.
oh
A
no,
beautiful
it's
moment that. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Girl, we spoke to the same goddamn thing. I'm sorry.
I'm with
It's
you. A
like
beautiful moment, sis.
conversation ping pong. I'm sorry. But the beautiful moment that I witnessed with my husband early on. Our son was first born. Our firstborn was born. It was probably like a few months old. We started out in the church. Well, I started out in the church. I drug him to the church because it was like, you gonna be with me. We gonna join the church. You gonna come to my childhood church. Um, Partially because my father passed away when I was 11. So all the men that helped raise me were in that church. So it was kind of like that was my cushion. That was my male covering. Like, we're gonna vet you to see if you really what I'm supposed to be with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but in bringing him there, he was able to have an epiphany for his life. And I was raised in music. He always loved music, but he didn't know his capabilities. So we sitting there, and he's a listener. He's quiet. I don't know if you've seen my husband page. He's as quiet as he is, and he don't say shit. He don't say shit until he has to say something. But
Mm-hmm.
he's sitting there. He's an observer, and I'm a clapper, stand up. I gotta sing every lyric. I gotta hit the notes and all of that. Put on the show, and he looks at me like I'm crazy. And this one time, I was just sitting, and I was able to sit kind of behind his shoulder to watch him and observe him. And I just saw him intently looking from side to side in the pulpit and in the choir box. And then we have the music box off to the side. Um, he said, you know what? And I said, what? He said, I think I'm supposed to be up there. I said, where? He said, up there, talking about the pulpit. But then I saw him look around and he stared at the music box. And he was just like, you know what? I don't know where, but I think I'm supposed to be up there. And then from there, the guy who played guitar at the time, who was a new person at the church, I didn't know him per se because I came back in adulthood. They clicked, and he bought him his first acoustic guitar. And then from
Mm-hmm.
there, my husband taught himself how to play guitar. He taught himself how to play piano. He taught himself music theory. And now he's a producer. He's one of the top producers in Delaware and in the tri-state. So it's like just to say that um, they come into knowing. It's just they may not know what, but they know. But it's
Yeah.
what role are you going to play? Are you going to be the deflator or the inflator? Are you gonna poke the hole in the balloon in a dream? Or are you gonna be there to just, you know what, add a little bit of air to this? Maybe you could do that.
Yeah.
So he'll come.
And
He'll do it.
and that translates down to our kids and that please stop. Okay, that's fine. Please stop. He said, Caden said he likes hating you. Caden, I didn't say I like hating mom.
Oh God, girl.
Like they be so serious. Yeah, and that points back to the article I was showing earlier with the crying kid and the yelling versus whatever, you have to understand your child's first celebrator, your child's first bully is you.
Mm, yeah,
De- Depending on the language you choose to use towards them. You know what I'm saying?
for real.
And so our spouses don't like us if we choose you mom if you can't do nothing right
Hmm.
and then you think he's in love with you and he ain't got no resentments towards you because you let him rub on your booty.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
You want to know why your man is not your man, but you want to know why our men are silent shells. A lot of these men are just surviving us just like they survived their childhood.
girl, you
And
can say
so
my man because that is.
my Dre was surviving my ass, girl, until I
Girl,
woke up in February. I was
yeah, girl, I
like
was
I
hellfire.
was, girl, I was so shocked when I realized the bitch that I was. Like,
Girl, look.
because they don't get no feedback. They don't say, I don't appreciate that, and they don't say nothing. They just sit there and Dre just be like,
Well, no, I can't say that's that's yours. Me and
yeah,
mine,
he's very
girl.
he took it all. He took it all. And it
Yeah,
wasn't until I woke up and I was like, this isn't love. Like
yeah.
love shouldn't speak
Shouldn't have.
this way. Love shouldn't be sarcastic. Like you tell me what your dreams are and I'm just like, okay, believe it when I
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Like I don't know if that's a true example, but what I'm saying is
It is.
love doesn't tear down. Love builds up. I'm not
Absolutely.
poking holes in your balloon anymore.
Yeah, and it's real. And that's all signs. I see Carby.
Mm-hmm.
That's all signs. every man has their way of showing us that they don't like what we're saying. Mine is more um toe to toe, and we are both like that. We are like bulls in the ring. So that's where we had to come. That's why that separation had to happen.
Hmm.
Because yeah, the you hear a bell and we sounding off. We can't stop. So yeah, we
Yeah.
had to take some time to
Alpha.
calm down. But yeah, I used to pride myself before marriage on you'll either love me or you hate me. And if you hate me, I'm gonna make sure you remember why. And it's
Hmm.
like, why do you have to be so mean?
Yeah.
Like, why? So I had to realize you can't take that energy into your marriage because men don't forget that. They don't forget it, and it's hurtful. So
Yeah, and I'm thankful, and I'm thankful to knowing that eventually I will get to a space. Because look, we were having a family meeting the other day, and I don't even remember what we were talking about. But in the middle of the family meeting, Dre just popped out and said, "You know what? I figured out where the divide happened because we're a blended family."
mhm,
He's like, "I figured out where the divide happened." He was like, "It was when Bailey had a problem with blah blah blah, and Angel joined with Bailey because that's her sister, and that's when the divide between the children happened." And in the past, I'm like, no, that's not it. But I was just like, one, I'm very thankful that you're finally comfortable to speak on that, because then Andre Jr. was just like, why are we talking about that? That's in the past. I was like, because the past needs to be resolved. I am
mhm,
so happy that you are coming to the place where you understand that even though it's the past, it still has baggage and it still needs to be addressed. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Our family literally was like the Taylors, the Appletons. That was
yeah,
it. And we came together for what I refer to as forced family fun. So once a month, we all came together and had fun. And like I was saying in my journal, where, the trampoline, dad bought the trampoline, but the fun is the trampoline, not dad having fun with us. So we
yeah,
would have this forced family fun, which means we would be doing something, an activity that was fun, but we weren't having fun together.
yeah.
And so, we lived in that energy up until recently when I had my awakening. And so when Junior was just like, why are we talking about that? I was just like, because that's what he wants to talk about. And I'm so thankful he's finally willing to address the past in any capacity that he chooses. And he's okay with talking about it. And he's talking
Yeah.
because he's silent. And I've been, if you're on our YouTube as the apple turns, I've been posting our last family meeting that we had and different things. And he's actually finally talking, you
You feel
know.
comfortable. Feels heard.
Yes. And so I was just like, thank you. And, a factor of that, to your point where you said we're all being brought together for a reason, Andre Jr. set an example. You know, Junior is he's an alpha, so he's not going to silently take it.
Hmm.
Junior and I, Junior and I are gonna bump up against each
Yeah.
other. And so, hey, Ion, so Junior demonstrated, what voicing your opinion and all those different things. And because Dre's just like, you're just gonna get angry if I say something. I was like, I'm not. The old me would have got angry, but now I want to know what you think. So I do believe that a value in Junior coming back, one of the things has been for him to demonstrate another way to be.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing like the men in the church to demonstrate for your husband, those are just other men. Who's demonstrating for my husband is his own son.
Yeah.
So he's able to see himself literally in his offspring, which has now, I feel, inspired him to start speaking. And it's just so beautiful. I don't care what comes out, it's the fact that he's speaking.
I know that's right. And
Yeah.
actually, honestly, the men in the church weren't an example for my husband. We
Okay.
left the church because it was too much going on, and honestly, my husband, with his background, what he broke down to us because he tried. You know how they had the men's meetings and all that stuff. He said to me one
Mhm.
day that I don't feel comfortable because I used to. I'm not like these men. I'm thinking he's
Yeah.
coming from a point like he's not as good as them. He's like, nah, most of these dudes I used to serve to. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, oh. So yeah, so it's kind of difficult for you to come up under them if you used to be that to them. Okay.
They put your man.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
honestly, like how your son is your husband's example of how to be, his oldest son honestly ended up being. And it's the patience that he has with his fiance. It's kind of like when you set out to do better than your parents did.
Hmm.
It was like, oh, you trying to one up me, son? So it's like they on this mission to do better than each other, but it's like it's bringing them together. But if it weren't for the kids, honestly, I don't think either one of us would be as good as we are. Like as mature as we are, have grown as much as we have been humbled and rebuilt and all that. So it's a beauty in y'all coming together, and it's a beauty in him being able to voice something about the past. We've had our conversations about the past recently, and I'm grateful for it. Um, but it's honestly been more so of a checking of each other and hearing each other on our opinions of how we felt about our treatment of each other. And I'm
Hmm.
finally in a place to where I can eliminate the third party situation and really look at myself, because there would be no third party if I was treating him like a person from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, like he used to always say, "Oh, you don't treat me like you did in the beginning. Oh, you don't treat me like you did in the beginning." But what I had to
Always defend the
realize,
right.
yeah, I had to realize that my mistreatment, um, it hit different because he's a man. Um,
Mhm.
and not to say that it means less that that he did what he did to me, but it's going off on a tangent. But really, honestly, I'm just glad that we're in a place to where I'm glad I'm in a place. It ain't about just him. For myself, I'm glad to be in a self-reflective place to where I honestly want to be better and do better. And no matter if what it is to be, I just want to be better. Like
Amen.
it ain't
You
about nobody else.
You deserve it. And we become better humans through our children because we want our children to be better. Therefore, we must evolve. This is what I'm receiving in this season. I was just like, in order for me to raise my children to be all that they can be, I must be all that I can be. But also, what I received is it is my job to impart my wisdom in my children. It's my job's, no, I'm sorry, my children's job to bring my wisdom into present day. So
Yeah.
how I would have done it in the 80s and the 90s and the early, the 99 to the 2000s, how I would have done it then, they're like, yeah, I receive your wisdom, but this is how it can be done now. And so we're supposed to meet in the middle and vibrate off of each other and grow each other. But in order for me to grow my children, I must to continue to grow. I must be willing to constant evolution if I want my children to constantly evolve.
Yeah.
So I definitely know I am who I am today. One, because Bailey, my 18-year-old, I want to say since she was like 14, 15, definitely since we've been in this house, she would always say how you talk to the kids is wrong, how you treat the kids is wrong. You don't need to be doing those things. And I'm like, yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't know what else to do. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. Tell me what else I'm supposed to do. And so it wasn't until that day in February I woke up myself, like it was my original idea. I know Bailey's sitting back like, yeah, I've been telling you this shit for years. you know, it wasn't until I woke up in February and I guess it clicked in, this is what you need to do. But even then I was just like, I know not to do those things anymore. I know not to replicate slave mentality. And like, we don't even understand that every single one of us black parents, and I say that race simply because I'm speaking of slave mentality. Y'all probably replicating slave master mentalities in y'all's house. I don't know. But each and every single black parent who chooses to beat their children into submission, choose to verbally berate their children, you are your own slave master and your children are your slaves, and you are replicating slave mentality in your house because you are tearing your child down.
And
And it
that's
wasn't
true.
and it wasn't until I woke up to that I was like, yo, I don't want to create little slaves.
And I had to check myself too, Ron. You're not the only one.
Yeah, and
Our oldest is autistic, and we just had a conversation. What's today? Today's Tuesday, so this was Friday, I think. Um, he reminds me every now and then, and it's sad because our oldest are our hugest mirror, like our most clear mirror of how far we've come, or if we've come in far at all. Like
Mhm.
how much changing we've done, or if we just still the same old person.
Yeah,
I too, I used to yell, cuss, fuss, holler, scream. Everything was from 0 to 100, and I'm getting it back with my daughter, and it's like God knows, okay. But with my son, he has these outbursts at times, and it's like, oh my God, that's me.
hmm,
Okay, child, let me sit down and tell you about yourself and tell you about me.
yep,
But I asked him, why were you yelling at your teacher last week? And he said, you know what, 4 years ago, you used to yell at me so much. And I was just like, baby. And we had to really have a heart to heart, and I had to apologize. And it put him in tears. And that's not the first time I've apologized. And I know I'm gonna have to continue to apologize because one, he's on the spectrum. Honestly, one, because he's my child and I shouldn't have been like that. But two, because he's on the spectrum and it's never gonna go away because he's human. And
yeah,
it helps shape him emotionally to deal with the world in a way to where if you don't do what I want, then I'm gonna make me heard, whether you like it or not. And
yeah,
for him, he's gonna be a black man. And he is taller than he's about an inch shorter than my husband right now. He's taller than me. He's only 12. He's a big boy. And he no longer has his black teacher he had last year. He has a white teacher. And there's a clear difference on how we're viewed on the outside. Um, so his teacher now, I get the emails of, I see the emails, I see the tone is starting to take on. It's like, you're not going to label my son into being aggressive. You're not going to label him into being all these things. I had to break down the prison, the school to prison pipeline. I had to show him that an example, my child, so that he could see. He said in the email to me that he is pleasant to have in class 95% of the time. It's just that 5%. So I took my garlic clove and I broke off one clove and I set it on one side, and I set the garlic clove. I set the whole head of garlic on one side, the garlic clove on the other. So this is the 5% of the time that he has a problem with you. Do you realize this 5% is going to outweigh this whole rest of that 95%, no matter how much you try? So if you continue down this path, this is the school to prison pipeline. You're a young black man. So as long as you're acting in a way that has him able to label you, it's an easier and quicker road to where they want you to be. So I had to apologize for how I put all that in him for him to react to the world the way he does. But it's hurtful because I know I could have treated him a lot better than I did. And that's the
yeah,
crazy part about it, when you have choice. And
yeah.
it took
Hubby
my
said he's the calm parent, and you are not so
look. There he
much.
go. Look, see, I knew he was in here watching.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
the
that's
sister is
okay
my wife.
because and you have the freedom to be able to speak your truth, and he's receptive of it and allowing you that space. I did want to answer his question. He had, how many opportunities has your child, or not opportunities, how many times has your child told you they're afraid of you? And I just wanted to answer it from my perspective. Is my kids have never actually said that they're afraid of me, but the look in their eyes has told me that. The fact that they don't talk to me tells me that. The fact that they mask in front of me because they're afraid of judgment tells me that. So my kids have never verbally said I'm afraid of you, but my kids have definitely put a shell around themselves to protect themselves from me. So that has told me, yo, I'm tormenting my kid, and they if yo, stop yelling. If they can't be themselves at home and they got to go make friends out there in order to be themselves, that's a problem for me. So that's some corrective work for me to do. But I'll let you respond because I'm curious. How many times?
What was the question? Let me go back and read it. How many times have you told they're afraid of you? Okay, and this is an issue that we've had in our home. Um, with my outbursts and my reaction to my children, because I'm a very loud voice, singer all my life, but I'm a quiet person. So when I'm quiet, I'm quiet. But when I'm loud, I'm loud. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, my reaction to my children and also my husband at times has been from 0 to 100. Very
Mm-hmm.
loud, very boisterous, and at times when we were at our worst, um, out of control,
Mm-hmm.
very out of control. And I'll say for myself, because I'm not pointing fingers.
Yeah.
So holding myself accountable because we were talking about that baby. Because I don't want you coming in here thinking that I'm bashing on you. We talking
Oh
about
yeah.
Patricia.
She told
But
me all about herself. She done read herself for filth. Don't you worry.
yeah, I don't get on here talking bad about my baby. But
No.
I know that's the fear, and that's also a fear that our men have is that um we don't see them outside of negativity.
Yeah.
Um, but for myself, my children have told him from what he says that they're afraid of me. I have seen the fear of my in my son's eyes when I'm yelling. I have seen the fear in them when we are not at our best. And that's what had me check myself and calming down and not saying as much, not coming to anger as quick,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes just walking away, going to sleep, go smoke, go sit on that porch, go do something.
Yes,
Just
something.
do something other
Mm-hmm.
than react. Because at this point, at this age, and after 4 children, you realize that some things they just got to grow into. Yeah, I'm a person who likes to be able to tell a child what to do and they listen. That's partly being in the classroom is a lot easier than being a mom at home. Kids at
Mm-hmm.
school go and listen, even if they
Yeah.
don't listen as much as you would like them to. But it's a tendency that if you're in a certain setting, kids know how to act because it's that setting. When a child's at home, they want to be free to act the way they want to, even defy you. So um, that was
Hold
an
on
issue
really
for me.
quick.
Go ahead.
You keep talking. My two youngest are arguing, and I need to stop this argument because I'm sure it's about ridiculousness, but keep talking.
Girls, kids stuff. But yeah, the children having fear, that is partially why we had that conversation, that heart to heart at the table. When he let me know that, yeah, 4 years ago you would just yell and it hurt. He also wondered why mom and dad, like why we couldn't get along, things like that. So it's a conversation we had to really sit down and have, just so that he would understand that it's not because of him. We've had to learn how to speak to each other, even if it means taking some time away from each other to come together. There are also some conversations that he's not privy to or around. And just knowing that starts with me, I got to change how I do things because at the end of the day, children remember their mother and how their mother made them feel more than their father, period. So,
I'm bad. Yeah,
got you.
they in there calling each other names that they don't even know what they saying. I'm just like, where did y'all even learn the language that y'all using? And who told you you need to be offended by something you don't even understand what it means?
Girl, I know the cusses my kids learn from me.
Um, he's making fun of him because he has chubby cheeks, and now he's like distraught. I'm not chubby cheeks. I'm Caden. I'm just like Jesus.
Oh,
So it's
it's the
nothing.
age.
Yeah, we have to continue. I missed what you were saying, but we just have to continuously check ourselves. And like my husband, he has his own areas of work. My kids come to me all the time and they're just like, Dad's mean, Dad yells all the time, all the different things, even though I'm the yeller, but I'm also the nurturer. So they, Dad needs to work on the balance of always saying no, always saying no, always saying no. With me, I'm, okay, I know that I have a tendency to say no, but I know that these moments are important and I need to show up for my children. I need to be engaged with my children. So I'm saying no a lot less and I'm doing things that I typically in the past wouldn't have done, but, my children's lives matter too.
Yeah.
And so I can't always be selfish and only give to, is it October? I think it's my grandmother's birthday.
Oh,
Anyway,
Happy birthday.
Um, eh, the fact that I think it's her birthday just says the nature of that relationship. But
Mm.
you know, our parents. I mean, see, our children, they matter, and if we just raise them in such an authoritarian space and we use the yelling and all those different things as a means of control, then we're really just teaching them that they don't matter. But it's easier for us. You know what I'm saying? If I can break you down and rebuild you into the perfect little mindless clone that I want you to be, then I don't have to worry about the stress of actually learning who you are. I don't have to learn your personality because instead of me having four separate children, I'm just going to make you all one of me, which means I have to break you all down and then build you up into me. You know what I'm saying? And so I did that to my 18-year-old. I was doing that to my 11-year-old. My 18-year-old survived me. My 11-year-old damn near was, you know, unaliving herself ideologies. Not damn near, she did. She wrote a letter and her teacher found it. And our awakening aligned with, I believe, saving her life. You know, I don't know how far
Yeah.
she ever would have took it, but I know she doesn't experience those ideologies anymore. And that wasn't just me, that was the entire household. Who wants to come home and everybody in your home is your enemy? You know what I'm saying? And the one person who's not your enemy is sometimey, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I had to do the work within myself. My children had to do the work within themselves because they were a causality of her not wanting to be here. My husband, you know, they have their baggage between each other, and so he has to work on his forgiveness points with her and be able to keep her, you know. And so when Junior moved in, he was like, you know, I noticed that you guys treat Angel different than everybody else. I was like, hold on, present tense, because I've been doing the work. Present tense, he was like, nah, you, it's not you. I was like, okay, don't say you guys, because I have actively since February paying attention to how I raise these children. Now, am I perfect? No. You know, am I perfect with how I interact with my husband? No. But as long as I'm cognizantly aware, like your hubby said, our children's first bullies are us. And
Yeah.
so if I can take my bullying from 90% to 80% to 70% to 60% to non existent, you know, I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? But we
Yeah.
got to think we were bullied. Whatever that bullying looks like we were bullied into compliance and
Yeah.
then built up into little clones. And so we have to be able to be like, no, I have to raise Bailey as Bailey. I got to raise Angel as Angel. I got to raise Michael as Michael. I got to raise Caden as Caden. But in order to raise them, I must allow them to be them in their fuller selves. And that means I got to find other ways besides yelling and beating in order to raise them to their fuller selves, which means now I have to evolve and I have to change. And I believe that's why when you said you and your husband are better humans, better people because of your kids, it's because you were like, okay, we have to figure us out in order to figure them out.
Absolutely. I came
Yeah.
into an awakening earlier in our marriage, and you know when you realize, because of childhood trauma, when you first realize that something was wrong, that's not normal, you go through the stages of mourning, and it's very hard for a parent to do that and still maintain parenting. Um, it's very hard to come into these epiphanies that make you not like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
make you think, oh wow, I'm not the best thing since sliced bread. Something wrong with me. Let me change a lot of stuff. So I know a lot of my frustrations were from the way I was raised, was very how do you say that word, authoritarian,
Authoritarian.
there you go. Very that way. Especially since my mother was an evangelist, a pastor, so it was always do what I say, come here, move there, do this that way, no, that's wrong. So it was always, and I'm the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot from examples. So if my sister got disciplined, I knew that's not what I do. So it wasn't even always that I got beat, is that I saw somebody else get beat. So I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to get beat. So a lot of my frustration was in You know how back in the day when a parent could just look at you and you would stop.
Mhm.
Why don't I have that with me? So that was my frustration in the beginning, was just like, yo, my mom used to be able to just look at me and I knew what to do. Why don't y'all act like that with me?
Yeah.
So it was the acting out of, I'm feeling less than a parent. I'm feeling less in control. I know I got some good stuff with me. I can get the masses to listen to me, but y'all my kids and y'all don't listen to me. So it's a huge frustration. And so that was the downfall in our marriage and with our family. And it was the fact that, outside everyone can see your light, but inside all y'all see is my faults, or you don't
Mhm.
hear me, you don't see me, you don't understand. So it was a point where I was very angry, very frustrated. I did take it out on my husband, I took it out on my kids, I took it out on myself more so. So
Mhm.
imagine if I'm taking it out on my husband and kids, how bad was I taking it out on myself?
Yeah.
And like your daughter, I battled with intrusive thoughts. And it's a very dark place to be in, and you still have to maintain, and you still have to go to work, and you still have to breastfeed, and you still have to cook, and you still have to clean. And
Yeah.
it's not a place that is easily described, and people who have not gone through it to understand. Because sometimes it's just like, won't you just snap out of it? Won't you just act better? Won't you just talk better? It's like, but I got this little nagging on my shoulder telling me I'm other. I'm not enough.
Mhm.
Showing me the darker side of things than what I'm truly bringing.
Yeah.
And this time around with the youngest two, that gap, that 6 year gap was necessary in my healing. I'm not perfect, but
Yeah.
I was able to really dismantle a lot of my thinking and see things a lot clearer once I stopped battling. And we got at one point where I was telling my husband, I text him and I said, I am waving the white flag. And I sent him the white flag. And I said, I'm done battling. I don't want a war no more. And he
Amen.
didn't believe me.
Oh
But
yeah, they
that
don't.
was
They don't
it.
trust this girl.
No, he thought I was setting him up. But it was because his father passed. I lost my mother. Years later, he lost his father. And I remember having the conversation with his father about his upbringing, and he apologized to me. And I didn't understand then, but now I understand because now I'm in a position to where I know better. I wasn't raised like that. So if my child turns out to be any different from what he could be in a negative way, I'm going to be that person that got to say sorry. So
Mm.
it checked me because when I tell you, like I said, it's either you love me or you hate me. And if you hate me, I'm going to make you remember that you hate me. I grew up like that. We grew up in the projects. Like we grew up in the hood. It was a thing of protection. Like
Survival.
yeah, survival. But
Mhm.
now it's kind of like, you know what, I'm waving the white flag. Can't do it the same way I was doing it because they're getting older. They're starting to mimic behavior. They're learning
Mhm.
how to interact with each other based on how we interacted and how I interacted with them and you interact with them. And yes,
Mhm.
he is the calmer parent, but yet I am the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
So they always gonna look at me like I'm mean. They always gonna look at me like, oh, dad's the greatest. I hate you because I gotta lay down law and I gotta stand on it. But it's just the way that I do it has changed a lot, and I'm hell bent on changing it a lot more because now we got teenagers in the house,
Yeah.
and it's different with teenagers. And I've been 14 before, and my stepdaughter's 14. I hate calling her step. I hate calling my stepkids step because this is just not how I was raised. Um, but my kids, being 14 and 16, she has to go to the store last night, and it was like 9 o'clock. And had her brother behind her. And are we going to the store? What store? No, you're not. She
Yeah.
started the head nodding and the neck rolling and the eyes jerking. And I'm just ah, oh, woosah, woosah, woosah. Yes, it's just like. And it took me a minute. And it was just like, you know what, girl? And when you speak so fast, you get about a paragraph out in 2 seconds. And it was
Yes.
just like, what store you going to at 9 o'clock at night? You're not gonna be wandering around like you an adult. You're not grown. Da, 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 da. And it was just like
Yeah.
she did the neck rolling and the eye rolling and all that and went upstairs. But it's just like,
Yeah.
how was that age? And nine
Mhm.
o'clock to a 14-year-old is early. Cause we
Yeah.
was out in them streets till 11, 12 in the morning.
Easy.
Yeah, but it's a different time now. But I'm running off on a tangent. But it's not easy. I just say it's not easy being someone to go from doing it wrong to trying to do it right.
Yeah, but the power, you have to understand how powerful you are, that you've checked yourself. You had to move into a space of self-love because I, the willingness to admit and to receive. You hear how my kids talk to me, the willingness to admit and to receive that you messed up,
Hmm.
and the struggles that my children experienced. Angel, my 11-year-old, her inability to vocalize herself and speak up for herself, and her shrinking into ourselves in our presence, is because of me.
Yeah,
And to receive that and to eat it and be like, okay, I got to change this up. I cannot be so prideful. I cannot be so prideful that my children, one, cannot come to me and tell me I'm problematic, but two, cannot come to me and I receive it, because then I'm the first person that they voice their concerns to and who dismisses their feelings.
yeah.
So we really have to think about the treatment. It is my grandmother's birthday, October 4th. I'm looking at Facebook and I see my dad posted a picture of his mom, and it is her birthday. I mean, it's maybe not in Florida anymore, but let me close this thing because I keep getting sidetracked. But it's a lot. So you are very powerful in your willingness to self-correct yourself and to realize that, you know, one day you are going to be somebody's ancestor.
Hmm.
Your children are your legacy. And so you have to decide. We've gotten away from that. You know what I'm saying? Prince Harry, maybe not Harry, is that the redhead? Whatever, William, I think, is the other one. Whatever the other one is.
I think it is Harry.
Okay. The other one, because Harry said, I'm out, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other one, he is walking in the honor of his legacy. Right or wrong, that's not what I'm arguing. What I'm saying is they were born into an expectation. They move within that expectation. They do everything within that expectations because their name and their legacy is attached to it. We have gotten away from that because we're the common folk. And so we are out here doing God knows whatever the hell we want to. And we have to come back to the space of understanding that I am legacy. I
Absolutely.
I am raising the next generation of Taylors and Appletons. And what does that look like? What am I sending out into the world to represent me? Which means I must move to my higher self in order to put the highest quality out there. So I celebrate you, sis. I celebrate, please stop. I celebrate, your willingness to evaluate yourself and heal yourself and get the feedback from your children, get the feedback from your spouse, and just keep making yourself over. Do you know how many times you have changed over probably in the past month?
Yeah, Lord.
In the past month, how many times you have broken yourself down and renewed yourself based on the feedback that you're receiving from your family?
Every day. It's an
Every
ongoing thing.
freaking
And it's
day.
wild that you even mentioned being someone's ancestor because that has been my thought process and why I've been so quiet. Like when I tune into the lives, I'm more so listening nowadays. I don't hop on so often because I'm a listener. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
in my own thought process and in my own head. We've been going through our own stuff too. But it's been that thing of how am I going to be remembered? Because being in that apartment, I had respiratory issues, which still shows itself now. I'm diagnosed possibly with sarcoidosis, and I have to go back do more blood work. Da da da. But basically, I can't breathe clearly. So the coughing, yeah, and also I'm a smoker, which is not cool. But hey, so being mortal was very, very, very in my face for like 2 years because for a whole year I had to cough to catch my breath.
Mm.
And I'm talking about working over top people's heads, standing behind them, apologizing for coughing, telling them it's not COVID. I just can't breathe. But I got to get your hair done. And like thinking that you're not going to be here and your kids being so young. And like I said, I lost my father at 11. I know what it's like to grow up just not knowing your parent um, from an adult standpoint. So you don't have that understanding of them. You just have memories from a child's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just that thing of how would I be remembered? And my husband may not think so, but a lot of my change took place that last year in that apartment um, because it was a huge reality and a huge kick in my butt when I used to have to stay up all night long to make sure my child was breathing through his sleep. But I also can't breathe. So
Mm.
it was like, okay, if I go, and I used to, he hated these conversations. I'm telling you, he hated these conversations. If I'm not here no more, you make sure you raise our kids, like all that. So it's like, I don't want my kids going to such and such. Don't make those split them up. And he hated those conversations, but it's really real. But besides all that, like, what are their memories gonna be?
Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna say at the service? What's gonna
Yeah.
be the conversation that they have as they grow up? Like, and I tell my kids, and I tell them straight up, I know I get on your nerves. Just so they don't have to think that they whispering it and I don't know that they saying it. I know I get on your nerves. Like I know I yell too much. I know like I used to go down the line of all the negative things that you could possibly say about mom. Just so we can get that on the table. So you don't feel like you're wrong for feeling the way you do. I know how I possibly made you feel. But now I don't even have to go down that road like I used to, thank God. But it took some time. It took me checking myself. It took me damn near feeling like I was going to die to realize, okay, the most important people in your life are right here with you. They can't raise themselves. They can't fend for themselves. Do they have enough tools within them to grow and be good? Like emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, like what have you poured into them that they can actually take with them like throughout life? Like that's also why I started early telling them foundational things. Like this is what you need to have. Like our second oldest can sit up here and name what he needs to have before he even thinks about starting a family. Like I was saying it so much. My oldest, he wasn't paying attention that much because he's just not into like girl. He's the pretty boy and he don't even realize it yet. So the girls have
Yeah.
always been like, "Oh, Saya," but he's just like, hi." So he's not there yet. But it's like you realize that you are going to be somebody's ancestor. You do have to leave something behind. I don't want to be that person where my kids are like, we better off without her. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she could
Yeah.
cook, but she could fry some chicken. But yeah, she's mean as hell. Like, I don't want to be that. Like, there's more to me than that. So,
That's what when I first started making the shift into my content brand or whatever, I moved from the moments because initially I started the channel and YouTube as the Apple turns in 2019 because I wanted to emphasize the moments. They matter. We're sitting here waiting for these big events, the trips and all these different things in order for us to create memories. And like Doughboy said, it's just like moments are the memories, and we have to choose, are we going to make a bad memory or are we going to make a good memory? And that's what I talked about in my journal earlier today. I was just like, we can choose to make this a memory by we attach some positive energy to it or we attach some negative energy to it. And so, God damn it. Hold on. I was saying something good. Memories, moments, memories and moments. I don't remember, but let me go back to earlier when you were saying when you started making the change in the parenting, you were like, how am I this parent? How are my kids not listening to me? I was laughing to myself because when I first started started changing my parenting style, I would joke all the time. I would be like, how am I this parent? How am I this parent where my children talk back to me? How am
Mhm.
I this parent when I tell my kids to jump, they don't say how high? If my
Mhm.
dad said jumped, I said how high. My kids would be like, what the
Yeah.
hell am I jumping for? Like, how am I this parent? Like, I was so in shock that I really did. And I didn't even recognize it then because I didn't know where I was going with this as far as evolving myself as a parent. I didn't recognize it as the early signs of I'm releasing that corporal militaristic
Mhm.
way of raising my kids, and they were starting to just, okay, no rules, running that around free, because I had to instill into them something different. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, especially since you've been on these lives with me since the beginning, you know I don't yell at, even in this short amount of time, I don't yell at my kids as much as I used to. I'm like, please stop, and they listen.
Yeah.
Like, can you
Yeah.
listen to please stop now? You remember, I'd be like, I have a kid in my lap, like, can you please respect mom? And da 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 da.
Yeah.
Now, if you just say, please stop, the next point is to get them to stop knocking on that damn door because they know something else got mom's energy and attention. But I was sitting here, every time I say, please stop, I was just like, I have retrained them and they've learned a new verbal cue,
Yeah.
and they've learned a new level of respect. And so, but what the moments and the memories, I really wanted to finish talking about that, and I'm just gonna talk my way into a point because there's a point somewhere in there, but just knowing that, boom, I remember when I first started this content, one of the things that I said, because one of the first things I healed was my mommy trauma.
Mm.
And so when I first started talking, I was just like, I said at my mom's memorial. And when I cried, I didn't cry for my mom. I cried because of the memory of, or sorry, of the idea of a mother. I didn't cry for my mom. I cried because of the idea of a mother, and you're supposed to cry and mourn your mother. And while you were sitting here talking, and I'm looking at the picture of my grandmother, I'm like, damn, I need to text my dad and be like, I really would like, I don't want a relationship with my dad, but I know I'll be sad when he dies. And so I should have a relationship so I'm not just sad that he died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got me sitting here having so many moments with myself where I'm just like in my mortality. But the point that I want to make to what you were saying in legacy and how will you be remembered was you don't want your children to mourn the idea of you.
Yeah.
You you want your children to mourn you. And why don't I want a relationship with my father? I don't not want to have a relationship with my father. It's that at this juncture in my life, or this juncture in the road, but this point in my life, to have a relationship with my father is work. I know that sounds weird, but I will have to go out. Look, we have all these friendships and all these relationships, and a lot of these friendship and all of these relationships, we don't have to do anything in our day-to-day life to maintain them. They are friendships from our past. And my cousin, I talked about this. My cousin invited me to her wedding, and I was like, bitch, I didn't even know you had a girlfriend. How the hell are you invite me to your wedding and I didn't know you had a girlfriend? Like, why is my attendance that important? you know, our friendship is 1990, early 2000s. It's not today. So you don't have to invite me out of formality. So in order for us to build some sort of relationship today, that she would invite me to her wedding and I would feel that I deserve to be invited to your wedding because I'm your present life. I'm a present friend. There's got to be work to be done. And so with my father, I don't know if I'm willing to call every Sunday or find some sort of connection point, some sort of bonding. I talked about that earlier when I was talking about the book. Make sure you get your copy on Amazon. Um, you know, there's nothing there. There's no bond there. There's nothing except for he's my father. And I want a relationship because he's my father. But I really would have to come to him and be like, yo, what can we talk about? What can we be about? Where do we start? Like, there's nothing there. There's nothing. There was nothing between me and my mother. And I guess you have to know the history of
Yeah, he
everything.
doesn't know your story.
Yeah. So why don't you? I don't want to. He's not a part of my present life. He's not. And so there's no value there. At the end of the day, agree. And I respect him for that. And that's why in that little piece, he said, without you, no you.
That's
Agreed. And so with that piece, I like your husband's. What's Doughboy's name?
it's Michael.
Michael. Oh
Michael.
Lord,
Yes, you have
my
a
oldest
Michael.
son
That's
is
why I be
Michael.
laughing every time you say Michael.
Yeah, yeah. I like how Michael thinks. Yes, I respect him. Boom. So that's the point. I respect the idea of him. I expect that his DNA is posting through my brain. Not my brain. It is my brain, but I respect the fact that his DNA is posting through my veins. I respect the fact that my get out there, get it done, excellence came from him. I respect all of those things, but to be his friend, because at this point it would be a friendship, right? I don't think I want to be his friend. The effort necessary to be his friend, and he clearly doesn't want to be my friend because he doesn't call me either to chit chat. He doesn't call me to bond and to see how I'm doing. So I have to make that effort and I have to come to the space within myself to desire that. So that's work for me to do. And I respect the idea of him. And this is something that I talked about early on when I was dealing with my mommy and daddy trauma and issues. I respect the idea of my father. But my father has done very little in my lifetime to earn my respect because he comes from a generation where I respect you because of the position that you hold in my life. I don't respect you for who you are, you know. And I'm not going to run my dad for filth, but just understand our history. And when I think about the memories that we have, I don't have too many. He taught me how to ride a bike. He used to let me help him wash his car. And we used to watch The Simpsons together. We had an 18-year classroom, and of those 18 years, I wasn't even with them. I lived with my dad until I was okay. So I lived with my both of my I lived with both my parents until I was 2, and then I lived with my mom, and then my dad kidnapped us. And I learned that my dad kidnapped us. It started out with I'm taking him for the summer, and he just never brought us back. And so he took us from no. I lived with my mom till I was 5. Dad took us when I was 6. I lived with my dad solid until I was 8. Then we moved back to Colorado where just everything went to crap. And from 8 until 14, I bounced around, bounced around, bounced around, bounced around, bounced around. So my dad wasn't a figure because 80s baby, epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad had his own issues that he was dealing with. Again, not here to run him for filth, but there's no relationship there because he would really just drop me off, go do his thing, come pick me up a week later, come pick me up 2 weeks later, come pick me up a year later. I literally was enrolled in schools and did years because my dad just dropped me off. So he's cleaned up his act. He's been clean for decades now. But the time that should have been spent bonding with me never happened. So for me, I respect the idea of my father. I respect who he is as his position in my life. But yeah, there's nothing there. But I don't want my dad to die. And like my mom died, and now, especially with my ancestral altar and when I was working through my mommy issues, I really was like, I wish I could have sat down and not been an enemy to you, because me and my mom were enemies. And so it's like I I don't know. Michael, god damn it.
He'll make you think. He'll make you think. But I'm just being quiet because I know this is your story. What I want to say though is, you do come into it's kind of a choice. I'll say for, because I don't want you to spill too much of your personal. I'll
Well,
say
it's already out
for
there. The
I
videos are
well,
out there.
I know, but still, like it's different when you're prepared to tell your story, and versus when you're put on the spot. Um,
Understood.
you know what I mean? And especially when it's something that's fresh, is something that you haven't embarked on yet. I'll say for what I did with my mother, because we had no relationship for a chunk of my life, before I finally decided at the age of like 19 that I was going to tell my mom I love her every time I saw her, because I never heard her say I love you until I started telling her I love her. And being from the South, being Southern Baptist or like sharecropper type, they didn't throw around I love you when my mom was growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
she did not tell us that she loved us. And it's sad because I'm the youngest. So imagine my siblings being as old as they are. My brother is 40 years older than me. And my mom throughout his life never said I love you.
Yeah.
So me looking at her, and I'm just like, I'm lacking. Like, I'm chasing love. I don't have my dad. You're the only person that I got who I come from here. So I guess I'll go ahead and just start saying to you that I love you. And let's see how this goes. But it had to be something inside of me to finally want that though. Like everybody on the outside looking in can be like, yeah, you should want it. But yeah, it's a light bulb that goes off inside of you that says, you know what, I want different. I want more. Let me take this chance, because you gotta kind of you gotta let your guard down, and you gotta, for whatever happens, I'm gonna try this thing. And even if it doesn't go the way that I want it to, because clearly my mom could have never said I love you. She could have
Mm-hmm.
never said it back. And I'm talking about, and the first time I told my mom I love her, she frowned her face up at me like, what the fuck you say? And I'm sorry to drop an F bomb, but that was her face. And it's weird because I grew up with her in ministry, so I'm used to seeing her hug people, pray for people, smile at everybody,
Yeah.
carry on in the church as if it's so much love. But then with me, you have no words of love for me, just the three words, I love you. So I had to take that chance. And in the end, we did end up with somewhat of a relationship. Um, Not as strong as it could have been, as far as her being transparent with a lot of questions I needed answers to. I had to find out certain things from my sister. Thank God I did. But in the end, she finally started saying that I'm happy I had you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad I had you. I'm glad. And that was a clue into her thought process at one point, which sent me on the journey of getting some answers from my sister what was going on when I was born. But it'll come in time. And I can relate, because when my father passed, I forced myself to cry at the funeral. I didn't cry, like uncontrollably cry, like agony cry, until I was 17. So
Here.
that was a chunk of time where it was like, you know what, okay, he passed away, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that was only because of all the trauma that we dealt with him being alive, that it was like, whew, man, like it ain't so crazy no more.
Yeah.
But it's it don't even have to be every day. Like once in a blue moon. Like
Yeah.
send him a text. Like
Yeah.
even now when you said, honestly, if you follow spirit and you're a spiritual person, your spirit told you without you even knowing it's your grandma's birthday. You have your altar. She's your ancestor. So something as small as that. You could speak to your father in spirit. And that's one spiritual thing that I connect with my mother with. I connect with my husband with, whether he understands it or not. My best friend, I can think about her and she'll call me. So it's really real. Whenever you think of a person, you send them love and light. Um, you pray for them in the spirit and you wish them well. Send them a message. You don't have to call him physically. You don't have to be in his face. You can send him love energy. And that, in a sense, is healing in itself. And it heals you. It heals him. It heals y'all connection with each other, so that hopefully it builds some type of strength to a point to where when y'all do speak, that maybe you could just sit back and observe and see, what, did it work?
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be like, what you think about him, he may call you.
Yeah.
He may
Now,
text you.
me and my dad are cool. Like, we're cool because he's from the ideology and whatnot. Like, time heals all wounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we ain't got to talk about it for him. We're cool. Like, that's my dad. I'm a daddy's girl, even though all the things that he's done to me, around me, all of that, I'm still a daddy's girl, and that's why when my kids are like, Mom, and they're like, Dad, like, mom can't do
You
nothing right.
understand it.
Dad walks on freaking water, try not to be
Ain't
too
that
bitter
how it
about
is?
that.
Come on,
But
boy.
yeah,
Oh.
but so there's no nothing there. But the thing is, I'm just sitting here listening to you talk, and I was just like, I don't want my father to leave this earth, and so I will communicate with him, Michael. Thank you. Um, please, yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good job. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, dear. You're welcome. I don't want my dad to leave this earth and I'm in regret of what I could have done. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting
Yeah.
here talking about my mom and I'm just like, I wish I could have a conversation with him. And I'm like, sis, your daddy's still here.
Yeah.
have have a conversation with him. But then I'm just like, well, the energy and the effort. I'm already talking myself out of it. So I appreciate you checking me, Michael. But yeah, I do I need to be better in just in the respect of us raising our children because I have not focused my energy upward. I've focused my energy forward, i.e. my spouse, and I focused my energy down, my children. And that's why, my husband was like, why does my relationship with my children have bother you? Why does that have anything to do with you? And I was like, you're right. It doesn't. But what I don't want is when they come over for Father's Day, they're just coming over because they're coming over for Father's Day and everybody's sitting here and we're watching a movie together. Then they get up and they talk about us because, there's no bond there. There's no loyalty there. There's nothing except for, and even though my husband has been, aside from when we blended and all the bitter baby mama drama and all that different stuff, those difficulties, my husband's been an amazing father. Like when I met him in 2010, I saw the father that he was, and I asked him, I was like, do you mind being a surrogate father to Bailey? Because I see how amazing a father you are. So I know he's an amazing father, but that was when I focused on bonds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like bonding moments, all the things in the tangible world. Like, yeah, I'll go kick the soccer ball with you. Yeah, I'll go do all these things. Yeah, I'll go jump on the trampoline with you. But I also know, I also believe those are spirit connections. This makes my flesh happy connections. But are you reaching your children's souls? Are you feeding their souls? Are you getting to know who they are? Are you talking to them? Are you building them up? Are you meeting them at their level and entertaining the things that they're interested in? Are they allowed to talk to you and tell you their unhappiness and where you've disappointed them and so you can readjust and step up? You know what I'm saying? And so that's all I was saying to my husband, and that's all the work that I do with myself because I want my children, I know this is terrible, but I want my kids to throw their asses on the casket like,
I
no! Because they lost something great.
know what you mean.
Yes, I want my children. And when you were talking about you had the if I die conversation, our family meeting we just had, I just published a video where I was just like, yo, what's going to happen to my kids if I die? Because Angel's mine, she's not yours. Like, you do whatever you do for my two girls because of me, but if I'm no longer the anchor, what's going to happen to my kids? And Andre Jr. was just like, this is an unnecessary conversation. I was like, no, this is a really real conversation because tomorrow's not promised.
That's not.
I need to know what's going to happen to my kids. And then what happens if something happens to Dre and me? What's going to
Yeah.
happen to the 4 and the 6-year-old? So we have both of those conversations. Yes, they're uncomfortable, but there's necessary because, Bailey was like, I'm okay popping in and out, but I
Yeah.
ain't trying to be a parent. And Andre was like, I'll take him, but he's like, I don't want to raise him by myself. So, everybody was able to get on the same page while it's not forced. Like you said, you being forced to talk about a certain thing, you know, let's talk about these uncomfortable conversations. If you guys don't have life insurance, not you, Pat, but the people in the audience, if you guys don't have life insurance, making sure, well, you too, if you don't, but,
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that.
yeah, make sure you get that because when I brought that up to my husband, he was like, what, you trying to kill me? What, you think I'm going to die? I was like, no, but if we do go, we need to make sure our kids are okay,
Yeah, most black
and
people
so,
say that. And my
yeah,
husband, he's doing that.
most of us, yeah, we don't we don't want to talk about those post-mortem things, but they need to be talked about so we could be a part of the conversation so that it's not pandemonium when the hits the fan because Lord willing I go before my children.
Yeah.
And in that respect, if they're still babies, because my old ass thought it was a good idea to lay up and have kids at 36,
Girl. Who you talking? Mine
so
younger than yours.
yes, I'm gonna be the 60-year-old grandma at the high school
Oh,
graduation. Like, is that your grandma? No, that's my
girl.
mom. That's my
Mm-hmm.
mom.
And that's what I used to have to say throughout life. I saw your
Yes.
grandma. No, you saw my mom.
Yep, that was my mom. So,
Those gonna be my kids.
those those are very real conversations.
It
Michael
is.
said, but as a father to hear from your daughter, I love you, will make him feel something he couldn't understand. I
Yeah.
agree. And I tell my dad I love there it's not a bad relationship. It's not. It's an association. You know what I'm saying? I think that's we just don't have any day to day. I call him and I talk to my dad maybe every 2 3 months, if that. Like I talk to my dad maybe 4 times a year. I call him on his birthday, or I'm not that bad. I don't text him. I actually call on his birthday, but I text him on Christmas, just mostly because Christmas is just another day to me. Ain't nothing to celebrate here, but
Yeah.
the key ones. But otherwise, us just calling and chit chatting. Like my sister calls him every Sunday and all those different things. Yeah, I'm not her, and I don't want to be her. But I know a relationship is important. So I'm at that juncture. How can I have relationship, but it's authentic to me?
Yeah. And that has to be in order for it to, because he'll be able to feel if it's not authentic, and that may push y'all farther apart. Um,
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm not a huge contacting people first type person. Um, my s-
No, you can keep talking.
uh,
These kids, they saying ow, so something going on.
uh, but my siblings understand like you gotta call Pat because you ain't gonna hear from Pat for a long time unless you text her a meme or send her a crazy joke so she could send a smile and laughing emoji. But
Right, and sit there.
excuse me.
Oh Jesus! All right, sis, it's turning crazy over here.
Yeah, I get to them kids. I understand because I'm sitting up here starting to cough and all this mess.
I'm using my
But
phone. You can't play the block game on my phone if I'm using my phone. But I'm about to get off.
yeah, they want your attention.
Hi,
Oh,
little
thank you,
boo.
Julie.
Yes, he's come to draw the attention. They out there fighting not about what are y'all fighting about, Caden?
I wish I built move the angel bite out Diane. I had to send mother didn't know it. I had to send her myself.
So you were trying to put Angel's bike outside, and Michael said no, and you accidentally hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that very well. Good job.
They did.
Yes, yes. So, all right, sis. I think we have done some intentional healing tonight. I promise. Whenever we get on this little horn, we start healing,
Girl, absolutely.
and I appreciate
Excuse me.
every second. I appreciate Michael hopping in and giving me some cause of reflection. And that's why I love this community so much, because even when y'all challenge me, you grow me. You're not afraid to say, yo, your thinking can use some tweaking.
Excuse me.
I'll go back.
No, but shush. So I appreciate you guys and everyone. And man, we've been on this horn for 4 hours, girl.
I know, because I hopped on and kept your time. I'm sorry.
No, no. And I've loved every second of it because, like I said, you were feeding my soul. And you were able to say some things and you shared some philosophies, and we consistently had viewers. So you were feeding somebody. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, I was looking. I'm like, oh, they listening. They ain't saying
I
that, but they
know.
listening.
Yes. And that's it. You've taught me, well, just being an observer, but you've taught me the message is for who the message is for, and like who got 4 hours of message in them. You know what I'm saying? So people are going to come and go, bounce in and out, but who's being fed is going to be fed, and that's what it's about. So they can listen, they don't have to engage. I mean, I love the double taps,
I know
I
it.
love the shares,
Oh, girl, you almost
but
at 5,000. Go ahead.
I know I appreciate it. I appreciate every single double tap.
I know that's right.
um
Excuse me, but yeah, I'm grateful that my husband actually joined today. That was the
yeah.
shocker, because I was steady running my mouth and I ain't even see him. But
Doughboy pulled up.
yes, you look. He saw me on here. He said, "What the hell she doing on here? She ain't talking to me." But
Yes,
we handled
yes.
that well. We weren't toxic, so I appreciate it.
Good, and that's what it's about. You should have the freedom to be able to, and this is what I learned recently with my husband, because he makes these posts on Facebook. He doesn't talk to me, he talks to Facebook, which is fine. I talk to him and I talk to the camera, but you know,
Very.
he posted his truth, and while he was using his writing abilities and his lyricism, he said the B word. And I was just like, I'm not sure if I'm the B you're talking about, but you were talking about the conversation we had earlier, and it's fine. You can call me a B. You can have that freedom of expression. I have.
Wait, I need
I've had my moments. Oh shoot! You about to lift my shirt up, boy?
I say that kind of live.
Yeah, we don't need the viewers to increase because of that. And so, please shut my door. No, both of you out, or only Caden in. That's what I want. There's nothing going on in here that you need to be in here about. And so, one of his friends came, and just the way he came at me, and I know that he's not a friend, he's a faker.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to cuss this man out since he was the first to expose my titties before my son. He was the first one, because he
Oh,
was
the
in an
one you were talking
argument
about
with
before.
my, you say what?
The one you were talking about before.
Yeah. So he was the one who hopped in my DMs talking about, sis, you don't need to be coming at your husband like that online and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to keep doing me. And so I called him weird because he said something. I was like, y'all are both just weird. And no, because I commented under my husband's post, and he, miscellaneous, came and commented under my comment. And he was just like, I was actually just talking to Dre. I was like, you commented under my comment, and then
Yeah.
you slid in my DMs, but you're talking to my husband. I was like, you're just weird. And he was just like, says the woman who blah, 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 blah. I was like, Boom.
Mm.
You just gave me that in because I've been wanting to cuss your ass out for 2 years now. And so, I didn't drop my vibration, but I let him know, like, you're a fake human. And now that we don't have to pretend that we like each other. Let's.
I know that's
And
right.
so, anyway, his point was correct. My husband does deserve to have the space to be able to speak his truth without me pulling up and saying, I. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Mom.
Because I have my space to speak my truth. I tell everything in these videos. You know what I'm saying? And so, I had to check myself and I had to come to my husband, which he doesn't believe me, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
I told him, I was just like, you could post whatever you want to on your page. I'm no longer going to respond publicly. I actually think he's home now. Go see if daddy's here. I was like, I'm no longer going to butt into your space. So I like that you have the freedom and the space to speak your truth. And it didn't turn into a confrontational situation or anything like that. And, we all need to be able to have that space. You know what I'm saying? We all need to have a community.
I'm still growing on that one though. Because we actually just had a situation 2 days ago where it was MFers are useless, and I had to get under there and say at me. So I ended up blocked. So it's just like he just followed me today. So
Yeah.
I get having your space, but from my standpoint, well, my view is we represent each other, and I understand this is your thought process. But if you are saying things in a way that's leaving an open for others to attack me,
Mm-hmm.
then is it really productive? Um,
That makes
so
sense.
I got I don't. That's just how I view it. And this is our situation is a little is probably a little more tumultuous than what y'all have experienced because of our history of how we used to go at each other. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who know both of us who have, you know how people pick sides. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like whenever they have an opportunity to say something, they always come out the woodwork. So go ahead and give them eyes. Go on to your baby girl. Get your man. I'm gonna get off here.
No, he's
Go-
out there draying. He's yelling at the kids. So
Oh, I thought you was looking at him. I was about to say, girl.
I'm just waiting for the volume to get to the point where I gotta be like, bye.
Hey, Mommy.
I'm
That's
listening.
insane.
Where's my baby
But
bun?
no, it's I let him have his space. There are conversations that he's had that I don't even get on. Some topics that he puts on there because he likes to hold discussions. And
Mm-hmm.
it used to be that I'll be like 2 days late and I'm like, damn it, that was a good one. I would like to be a part of that one. But then
Mm-hmm.
there are times where I do catch it and it's like if I get on, everybody gets quiet. And it's like y'all don't have to be quiet. Y'all have to be silent. We can talk. Like, but I realize because of the history, there are conversations, there are posts that have been put on there, especially when we were at our worst, that I did not see, to where people had just open range, how you say that, to free range, how you know what I'm trying to say. They had open playing field to say whatever they wanted to say. So that's why at this point it was just at me because we can have a discussion. I don't want to have a full blown argument online because that's stupid and young, but it's just the fact that we're a team. So if
Yeah.
we're a team, there should be no grounds for anybody else to be able to come and say anything negative about you on my page or me on your page. Because at the end of the day, who's raising these kids and who you gonna want to lay down with later on? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you come on. So
Whose deflated booty you trying to rub on?
girl, look, because half
Out
of
the door.
these
Go
homes.
out the door.
Huh?
Yeah.
But I'll let you go there. 'Cause I know you're
He's
trying to get
coming to
off.
unlock the door. All right. I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate all of you guys. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Bye, dear.